This is KLZ Denver, the source, AM and FM, AM 560 and 1220, and now on FM 95.3 and 100.7. Online, streaming at 560thesource.com, KLDC Denver, KLDC HD Denver, and KLZ HD Denver. This is the Crawford Broadcasting Company.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
they don't ask you a bunch of questions. They want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does the positive track radio on the Plymouth work?
It just does. Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560 on this cloudy, sort of mysticky, can't see the mountain Saturday. Ray Seidel, welcome.
Colorado Day.
Yeah, it kind of is. We had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's
spring.
I mean, this is nice. You got to have a break.
I guess
so. It's actually a little warm yesterday.
It got a little bit warm yesterday. We also have Eric Larson, Napa Filters, and what else? Just Napa Filters? Is that it, Eric?
Yep. Just nowadays, Napa Filters.
Just Napa. I shouldn't say just, because that's a big deal all by itself.
About 4,800 part numbers.
That's a lot.
Yes.
We'll talk about some of that as we go through today. We also have a very special guest with us, Mayanna.
Yes, hi.
I said it right.
Woo-hoo.
Whoa. Yeah, if I can get it right the rest of the show, I'll be in great shape. So, Mayanna and Wicks, say that right?
Mayanna Wick, yep.
And you are a up-and-coming IndyCar driver, or want to be an IndyCar driver, I should say.
Correct, yes. Currently driving a 1996 Lola IndyCar and have aspirations to drive in the Verizon Series someday.
Okay, so you've got some events coming up we should also talk about. You're going to be out at Colorado National Speedway a little bit later tonight.
Yes. I hope the weather comes around for them poor people. But we're going to be doing meet and greets out there and going to have some good racing fun out there. And then this year we have a lot of other events like Concours d'Elegance. We're going to be there next week. We're going to be at Erie's Balloon Festival and Fair and all that. It's going to be a blast. And at the end of this month, we're heading down to the Indy 500. Me and my team are going to scout out some teams and just be there and have a great time.
Okay, so you'll actually be at the 500.
I will, yes.
Awesome. That's an experience all in of itself. You guys ever been, either one of you?
No. I've been to the NASCAR 500, but not the
Indy. Indy has been a long time since I was there. I'll date myself now, but it's been a long time since I was there. We did a deal. My dad and uncle and my brother and I went one year, and Buick was the pace car that year, and we had a Buick dealership at the time, so we had the ability to actually go and drive a pace car. One of the replica pace cars, I guess I should say. Drove that back to Colorado from Indy, but it was fun. It's like a 3-ring circus that's very well organized.
Yes,
They do a really good job, and it's just a blast if you ever get a chance to go to the 500, or even just go to the track. By the way, you can go to the track, I think almost every single major day except for some of the weird holidays. I shouldn't say weird holidays. Some of the holidays like Christmas and so on. Outside of that, I think the track is open. You can go. You can take tours of it. You can drive around. Go to the museum. It's really fun. It's a cool place.
It is, yeah.
So you'll be there. Are you going to be there the entire speed week ahead of time, or?
We're going to be leaving the Tuesday in advance. So we'll just be there basically a couple days in advance, just be there and then be there for the race.
All right. Sounds great. So we're going to learn more about Mayanna. I'm going to keep saying that the right way as we go through the show here. So we'll learn more about her throughout the show today. She's going to be with us until about the noon hour. We're going to talk filters. We'll take your calls like we always do, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll answer your questions. And as I always say, there's never a dumb question on Drive Radio. If you don't know the answer, most likely somebody else out there has exactly the same problem, and they're looking for answers. So feel free to call us, 303-477-5600. Also, if you've got a question on filters, we do have the Napa filter rep with us, Eric Larson. He'll answer questions. And Mayanna, you'll answer questions too, I'm guessing, when it comes to racing and maybe how to get kids more involved in racing and things along those lines, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love those questions.
Okay, so to get started here a little bit, how did you get started? You're 19?
I'm 19. That's
So you're
correct.
19. So how did you get started in all of this?
Well, it all started in go-karts. I think a lot of people who make it to the Verizon Series or whatever, they start in go-karting, and that's kind of pretty thumbnail. But my dad used to drive motocross actually, and
Okay.
so he was very
So
mechanically
he was on the bike
inclined.
side of the fence.
Yep.
So
yep.
that's still a transition because a lot of guys never transition from the motorcycle world over to the auto sports world.
Right. And funny story, he would never let me drive motorcycles these days. He said he did it before it got crazy, and I just look at him and nod my head like,
Really? Yeah, right.
right.
They've always been crazy.
I think so. So anyways, he was very mechanically inclined, and when I was growing up, we moved a lot for a certain period of time, and so we were really trying to find something that we could do as a family together.
Okay.
And so we ended up building a go-kart for all of us. So for my mom, for my dad, for my older sister, and for myself. And at that point, like, I was so small at that point because this was back when I was like younger than 10.
Okay.
And so I was like slopping around in this cart, couldn't reach the pedals, couldn't reach the steering wheel, but we just took it out and had some good fun. And then when we moved back to our original hometown over in Montrose County, we ended up paving a 1/4-mile track in our backyard.
Right on.
And
That would be fun.
Right,
It's
wouldn't
every
it?
kid's dream.
it
Actually, that's like every dad's dream right there.
Wow.
Exactly. So we would go out as family, and like I would run the cart out of gas. We would just spend a lot of time. And
Wow.
so my parents were like, well, let's take her out for her birthday. Let's go to the big wig tracks. Let's go to these tracks that national events come into and all that. And so
Okay.
I went there, and they saw me, and they're like, wow, you're really good. And I'm like, well, thanks, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And they're like, well, let's put you in a club event. So I actually won the first club event that I entered, and then the next race was regionals. Went right into regionals, took second, and then the third race that I was in was nationals, and just went. It was flying from there. Like we were just like hit the road running, and
Really?
then moved from nationals into cars. And Phil Giebler, who was a former IndyCar driver, Rookie of the Year in 2007, he actually opened some doors in the Formula cars for me and kind of guided me on how to do things on a low budget. And at that point, I met Loophole Racing a couple years back in 2014. And then we moved to a Formula Mazda. I've been working with them. And to give a little backstory on Loophole Racing,
Yeah, let's hear about that.
David Hoffpower and Bud Hoffpower are kind of the runners of the Loophole Racing
Okay.
team. And they used to work for, in the 1980s to early 90s, they used to work for the Andretti's. And so they worked for, Michael and Mario Andretti
Got it.
and Newman Haas back in the day. So they know how this
The
stuff
Monkey Mucks.
works.
Yep.
Yep. And so it's just been great to kind of be with a team that's so knowledgeable and just knows how everything goes. So we've been working with them, and last year we showed up to SCCA's Majors Tour in July, I think it was, somewhere around there, midsummer, and won over the series champion by 20 seconds. And so my team kind of like looked at me and was like, if we can show up to a race and win, like let's start doing some really progressive things. Let's move you up to a faster car. And so that's when we bought the 1996 Lola Indy car, and we'll be testing that this year.
Great. Well, what a story. And I hope people listening can really get a feel for Mayanna and how this works. We had a conversation yesterday afternoon on my afternoon show where we talked about young people and the trades and schools, and is college for every single person out there, and should every kid go to college? We had a great discussion. In fact, it wasn't even where I planned on going with the program. It just sort of dovetailed and went that direction. And we're sort of continuing that on this morning because you, Mayanna, you're not taking the same route that probably most of your peers have taken when it comes to after high school, correct?
I'm not, to be honest. Some people have looked at me a little crazy for the route that I've taken. I actually ended up finishing high school, which some race car drivers haven't. So
Okay.
I think
Yeah, good for you.
finishing high school, that was a pretty big deal. But
Yeah.
I actually,
And explain that. Explain why they don't real fast. Because I'm sure people listening think, wait a minute, are these parents like the most cruelest people in the world? No, that's not it. Talk about why they don't.
right. It's because when you get into racing, if you have potential, like you're one of a handful, like 22 drivers out of millions of people wanting to be a professional driver actually get that seat.
Exactly.
And so if you have potential, like that's your job, right there. And so you just need
So
to
everything becomes
invest in
committed
that.
to that, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
schoolwork, some of the other things sort of get the back burner because you're invested in racing at that point.
Right. And I know for a lot of kids, when they're growing up, even in high school, like 16 years old, they'll be called over to Europe and they'll just have to pick up from their families and leave and go race for a team over in Europe. And, you know, like stuff in racing is hardcore training. And I got really blessed that, you know, my team's over here where I live, that I was able to finish school and all of that. But, you know, it's tough and you need to invest in
That's
your
really,
future.
that's an interesting story. In fact, at some point, I'd love to have you back during the day for the afternoon show and talk about some of that and just kind of transition that differently when it comes to sporting events. We talk a lot about football. We did the NFL draft, recapped that a couple of Fridays ago and talked a lot about that. But people forget that there's all these other sports, motorsports and so on, where let's just say that the fame and fortune is for but a select few. And the rest, it's a grind day after day after day to even stay inside the sport. Now, I realize it's the same in a lot of cases for football, baseball, basketball, but I think racing is even worse because, in a way, and I'm not trying to downplay anything here at all, but in a way, you become a commodity. Am I right?
Exactly. Like we are the billboard for a lot of people.
There you go. Very well said. All right. So again, phones are open 303-477-5600. We're talking to Myanna. I'm going to keep saying that correctly. It's going to take me all 2 hours to do that right. But Myanna Wick, and she's an IndyCar driver, up and coming IndyCar driver, I should say. If you want to talk to her, I've got a question for her, and or maybe have a question. How do you? Maybe you've got a child, maybe you've got a son, or it doesn't have to be a son. It could be a daughter, as we can see from sitting across from us. It doesn't have to be one or the other. If you maybe have some kids and or yourself thinking, how do I get involved in this? Give us a call. We'll walk you through it. 303-477-5600. I think you're proving, Myanna, that you don't have to have really, really deep pockets to get involved in this, do you?
No, you don't. Like my parents aren't poor by any stretch of the means, but you know, we're middle of the class. We don't have money for racing per se, and I quote that.
And racing is very expensive. No, I know exactly what you're saying because I drag raced in my early years, and it's a very expensive sport no matter how you look at it. And it's a little different than sending your kid to club volleyball. Let's just say that. No offense against those of you that are doing club volleyball or club baseball or whatever, and I realize those costs are high. But for some of you, and I know the cost for club sports can get up into the 8 to 10K range. No offense, that doesn't even get you started in racing.
No,
I mean that's a drop in the bucket on the racing side, right, guys?
Yeah.
I mean 10K is nothing. Sorry, I'm just being real here, folks. So if you think that the club side of the fence is expensive, wait till you dip your toes in racing. It can get very expensive. But if you do it right, you've got the fortitude to do it. You stay with it. You're good. Probably the last key there is you really have to be good. You can progress and propel yourself through it, can you not?
Yes, correct. Yep, you can really open the doors.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a real quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll take your calls, 303-477-5600. And again, anything you've got, just because we're talking racing and Napa filters and some of those things doesn't mean we won't take your call. We would love to. 303-477-5600. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons is with us. We've got Eric.
Yes.
From Napa Filters. So make sure that you give us a call. We'll let you talk to him. Should we take Denver real quick? Or Denver. Jerry real quick from Denver? That's probably a better way to say it. We'll do that. We got time. We'll take Jerry before we go to break. Jerry, welcome. We'll take you before we go to break.
How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
I was wondering, has anybody have any experience, how Ford has come out with their aluminum-bodied trucks? What's the mag chloride going to do to those?
Nothing, because the mag chloride's not doing anything to the current metal bodies. The rust and the problems that you're seeing in today's vehicles around the Denver area is not from the mag chloride, it's from the salt that we're using.
Okay,
we have gone from a state that used about 7 to 11% salt mixture in the gravel to a complete, with the exception of a few counties, we are using 100% salt on all of our roads today. So most of the rust and corrosion that you're seeing is not from the mag chloride, it's from the salt.
Okay, but you don't think that'll have any effect even though it does chew up your wheels and stuff like that?
Nope. The way they've got the corrosion protection on the aluminum bodies and such. Now, here's one thing I did learn, and I learned this from our collision sponsor out at Denver Collision Experts, Joaquin. Here's one thing, and I didn't realize this until I started talking to Joaquin. When you go to get that truck repaired, so let's say you buy a F-150 or a Land Rover. A lot of vehicles now have a lot of aluminum panels on them. You cannot use anything that's been used on a regular mild steel panel on an aluminum panel. So when you go to a collision center to get your Ford fixed, you need to make sure that they have completely separate tools from one side to the other, because you cannot intermix those tools or it contaminates the aluminum and you'll never have it fixed correctly after that.
Okay, thank you.
I
have
did
another
not know
question.
that until about a month ago, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Can I ask
interesting.
another question?
You
I
sure
got
can.
I put BG44K in. I got a 26-gallon tank, and each can treats 20 gallons.
Exactly.
Can I get by with one can?
What I would probably do is let it get to 3/4 of a tank, then add it
Okay.
and do it that way. That would be a better way to do it. That way you've got the full strength that way.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Jerry. I appreciate it. Yeah, that aluminum body situation when it comes to the collision center side of the fence. Yeah, I should have known that, because it makes total sense. When you've got an aluminum, piece of aluminum, you don't want it contaminated with mild steel at all, period. And if you've got dollies, hammers, files, even sanders and things like that are working on the steel side of the fence, and then you go over and jump right over and start working on an F-150 or a Land Rover or anything else that's got an aluminum panel on it, there's a cross-contamination there, and your paint adhesion, things like that on down the road could be greatly affected by that. So, side note. Speaking of paint, Napa's one of your sponsors also, correct, Miana?
Yes, correct. Just actually finalized that this year, and it's awesome. Like, racing paint is expensive. Like,
Yes, it is.
we have to have the best of the best. Like, you have to have the heat stuff, you have to have durability, the weight, the everything, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm kind of a girly girl, so I like things to look nice.
Right on. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. And so I'm going to have like an ombre with like a very light silver, like a silver line silver,
Wow,
back
nice.
to like a charcoal silver. And then we're going to have accents of like copper orange on it, which will go really good with my like Dayglow construction orange helmet. So I'm pumped
Right
about
on.
it.
Very cool.
Napa Auto Parts are awesome.
So Martin Senior, part of Napa, they stepped
Yep.
up and agreed to do that. So Miana, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be right back. Ray Seidel is with us. Eric from Napa Filters, thank you also for joining us. Any questions, by the way, on the filter side of the fence? As soon as we come back, we'll talk a little bit about filters, because I want to get into that this first hour. We typically have a little more time to delve into things before calls roll in. So let's talk filters as soon as we come back. 303-477-5600. This is John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car may have aged well, but its AM/FM setup isn't the technological wonder it used to be. So get with the times and pick up a Bluetooth car kit at Napa for $14.99. It attaches to your visor and keeps your hands free from holding your phone. That's $14.99 for a Bluetooth car kit and a way to bring your ride into the 21st century. That's Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
We know what it's like, trying to find an auto mechanic that you can trust. As a consumer, you feel helpless. A friend recommends a shop. You try them out, they seem okay for a while, but see how they react when they miss something. Mistakes happen, but it's what they do next that is very telling. Colorado Select is a group of like-minded independent shop owners who should be competitors, but are instead so driven to provide the best possible customer experience possible. They all work together to make sure that you, the customer, is always super served with the best service and the best auto repair in the industry. Every Colorado Select Car Care Center is owned by an ASE certified master technician, and every Colorado Select member offers a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. If they ever miss on a repair, they promise to make it right without any hassle. Get to know the Colorado Select Car Care Center nearest you. Find one at coloradoselect.org.
When you've been in a fender bender or accident, you need to get your car repaired quickly by top-notch experts that know your car. Don't mess around with the cumbersome national auto body chains where you have no idea as to who is working on your car. Denver Collision Experts is a locally owned auto collision repair facility that will give you that personal touch you deserve. They'll help you in dealing with your insurance company and get you back on the road quickly without skimping on quality. Denver Collision Experts are Denver's experts in auto body repair. Call Denver Collision Experts today at 303-761-0955, 303-761-0955, or check them out at denvercollision.com. Be sure to tell them Drive Radio sent you.
The phrase tune-up is a thing of the past on modern vehicles. It's now called maintenance services, and there's no one-size-fits-all for tune-ups. Most often, we have to inspect and use a scan tool to diagnose for tune-ups. Maintenance tune-up intervals are usually identified in the vehicle owner manuals. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help to make sense of what your vehicle needs to keep it running the way it should. Call or stop in at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue, just west of Sims, 303-422-1065.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility. And they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance.
35 seconds.
You were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard.
5 seconds.
Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons, of course, is here with me as Ray's a regular voice. Not face, but voice. If you watch YouTube, it's a face. Yeah. Because we are on YouTube. You can see us there. It's if you want to be entertained, I guess, by seeing faces made for radio, you can watch YouTube.
Exactly. Right.
Four Seasons. So great for Four Seasons. We also have Eric Larson from Napa Filters. Eric, again, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. We'll talk filters in just a moment. And Mayanna Wick is with us, and we appreciate her joining us. And real quick, before we get into filters, the paint on your car, sponsored by Martin Senior, which most people may or may not know is actually a division of Napa.
Yep, correct. Yeah, Martin Senior and Napa are hand in hand.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
One and one.
1 and 1. It's correct.
And they have a great paint line. Most folks out there don't realize that, but you can go into a lot of different parts stores, Napa parts stores, I should say, and most folks don't know this, and you can get paint matched exactly to your vehicle. So if there's a paint department inside of that parts store, you can walk in even with a chip and say, I need this matched up, and they'll get it matched up for you.
And put it in a spray can.
And good point, Ray. Good point. Yeah, so if you've got a smaller job you need to do, they'll put in a spray can for you, and away you go.
Right, we do that all the time on mirrors. The mirrors get knocked off, so we can do a real touch.
You color match that?
Yeah, it matches that.
Which means you don't have to go to the collision center for that. It makes it easier.
It's not a perfect job, but it's an adequate job. But the paint matches.
The paint works really well.
Yes.
So they're doing basically providing you paint for your whole car.
Correct. Yeah, and just to kind of plug Napa more with that, like the paint that they supply, like they can't only match stuff, but I was concerned going in that they wouldn't have a lot of like paint like choices, like with sparkles, with flecks, with all that. But there was
candy in the whole 9 yards. That's right.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous, and we had to go outside. We had to choose, and it was. I couldn't even decide. I'm like, you just need to tell me. Like, I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, they're awesome, and they have so much stuff.
They do. They have it all, and then they have a full line. We don't talk about this much on the show, and we should. We should get the Martin Senior. Larry, put a note in. We should actually get the Martin Senior rep to come on, because they've got everything from sanding blocks to paper to primers to thinners to all of the paint you would need, like Mayanna was just talking about. You name it, they've got the whole 9 yards. They can set up your entire collision center right through the paint department.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they also have the OSHA yellow for your poles.
Oh, got it.
Roll-on paint.
Oh, for the pipe bollards and things like that?
Yep, and it's already got the primer in it, so you can just go ahead and roll that on your OSHA poles in front of your business.
And off you go. Okay, so one question for you, because I don't know this answer. Maybe you do. Do they sell parking lot striping paint?
Yes, they do.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That's cool.
I should be using that.
Yes.
Actually. Okay. Thanks for the tip.
Mr. Mike Chapman can
Thanks.
you up
So, Mr. Mike, if you're listening, you should call me this next week, because we use quite a bit of parking lot striping paint, and we should figure that out. So, stupid me. Didn't even think about it. That just shows you how much stuff Napa has inside of their catalog. The other day I was looking for stuff and I'm thinking, I had no idea. I mean, every time I look, it's like, I didn't know you carried this. Really, it's that way. Every single time I look, there's just one more thing. It's like, I didn't know you had that. So, so let's talk filters for a moment.
Yes, sir.
There's a big difference when it comes to filter quality from not just inside of even your line, but just in the world in general. There is some really good stuff on the market, and there's some junk on the market. Am I right?
That is correct. You can get some really good product, and you can get some real trash.
Okay, so folks listening, and they're thinking, okay, yeah, you guys talk about oils, you talk about filters, you talk about synthetic and all this other stuff. When I go to my local Quick Lube, it looks to me like the filter looks like every other filter. I really don't see what you guys are talking about. It's no big deal. I get my oil changed. I go in, I go out. It's done. What are they really getting, though, when they go to some of the Quick Lubes when it comes to the filters itself?
What you're getting is what we would call a value line type filter.
Okay.
That filter, if in most cases, is a traditional oil change filter. It's good for 3,000 3-month change interval.
So even though the oil itself may be willing or may be able to go much further than that, the filter capabilities, it's a 3-month, 3,000 mile filter.
Correct. It's the media inside that makes the difference. It's capacity and efficiency.
Okay.
And that thing's only meant to hold so much contaminant. I don't care how good your oil is, it won't break down. But when it's
But there's still particulates inside of it that the filter needs to catch.
Correct. Right. So when you get that value line filter full, and you think you're going to go to 7,000 miles.
You can. It's just going in bypass mode.
Going in bypass. We're putting unfiltered oil right through the system.
Which means the filter at that point might as well not even be on the car. You might as well have a plug there instead.
That is correct. And that's where a lot of this misconceptions coming in, because if you look at, let's just go 1995, 29.95, and 79.95. So we have our traditional conventional oil, our blend, and then our full synthetic. But if all I'm doing is putting that entry-level filter on,
you haven't done anything to that's right.
I've misled the customer.
You haven't done anything to help that customer in that vehicle and the longevity at all.
Correct.
Okay, we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Tom, you're next. What's going on today, sir? Hello, Tom.
Oh, yeah, I got a 2003 Silverado.
Okay.
4.8, and my oil gauge is off when the ignition is off, and when it's on, it just immediately goes to 80, and it never does anything. It just stays at 80.
Okay.
And I've only had trouble with oil pressure once in my life, and that was with a 59 Ford. And by God, it had a red light come on, and I immediately shut off the engine, and I screwed up the bearings, and it just that fast.
Yep, it could have back then.
I was just wondering how important it is to have that gauge working and what it costs to fix it.
It's important to have it working.
Yeah, you have no idea what the actual oil pressure is until the engine starts knocking, and then you don't have any.
Right.
So yeah, you definitely want to get that taken care of. And where I would start is actually getting it tested. Normally the sender is the bad unit, but they can take that sender out, put a manual gauge in, and actually see test the oil pressure, and then they can determine if the sender or the gauge. That usually it's the sender, the gauge, or being you're getting movement, it might not be the wiring.
Which, by the way, for those of you listening, the way Ray just mentioned to do that is the proper way to do that, because the other reason why you want to manually check it is when you then get it fixed and you see the reading, you'll know whether it's accurate or not. In other words, let's say that it has a 40 psi oil pressure when it's warm, hot and running. And all of a sudden you put a new sending unit in it thinking that's what's wrong. You put a sending unit in, it fixes it, but now it reads 60. Well, you may have the gauge working, but it's not reading accurately. You need that initial manual test to get everything gauged off of at that point. Make sense, Tom?
Okay, so what I was afraid of, this has got a Chinese-made instrument panel, and they had a recall on it once, and I got a new one back. Well, it's got 170 on it now, and I got a new one around 45. And I was just kind of afraid of that because I think they're about $400 for the whole instrument panel.
You can have it fixed. You can actually take it out and send it in and have it fixed. So it may not be a full 400 to fix it if it is, in fact, in the instrument panel. But before you get too nervous about that, to Ray's point, put a manual gauge in it, check it, and if they determine that it's just a sending unit, you can put a sending unit in it for a lot less money.
Right. Or should be able to test to see if it's a gauge too.
At the same time, yep. There's a test procedure for testing the gauge to see if it's working properly, is what Ray's trying to say.
Okay, I will go someplace and do that.
All right, we appreciate it. If you're in the Lakewood area, go see Ray. Ray, where are you at?
We're at 1801 South Wadsworth Boulevard, 303-986-5202. We'll be there Monday morning at 7.
All right, and we're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. We've got a quick break we need to take. We've got Mayanna. I'm saying that enough. I'm going to get it right. It's going to roll off the tongue here before long. Mayanna Wick, up-and-coming IndyCar driver. We're talking about racing a little bit today. We've got the filter rep from Napa here with us, Eric Larson. We'll talk filters. And we talked a moment ago just about the quality differences in filters. When we come back, I want to ask Kevin how the average layman can determine on the shelf, maybe they're doing their own oil change, good, bad, and best. Okay? So we'll talk about that in just 1 minute. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
Today's gasoline direct injected engine doesn't have your father's Ford injected fuel system. And that's probably why you paid more to get one. The GDI's special design requires special maintenance to keep it carbon-free and free of costly repair. BG Products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and is one more reason service managers recommend BG 3-to-1 over all others. Find a shop near you at bgfindashop.com. If you own a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters, BG. BG.
At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether your furry friend needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and hold a gold star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. Learn more about us by visiting our website at LoneTreeVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
When there's no place to charge your dead phone, withdrawals start. Withdrawals from tweeting, checking email, and watching how-to videos. So keep it charged with a portable power supply for $14.99 in Napa. For $14.99, this portable power supply charges any USB-powered device, preventing you from living in a world where you can't post selfies of you with your truck. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
Life is full of enjoyable moments, such as getting a root canal, paying taxes, your kids playing their recorder, dinner with the in-laws, and buying a car. I'm just messing with you. Those things are absolutely horrible. But with the help of Mike Lather and JFR and Associates, they might actually make purchasing a new vehicle, well, enjoyable. Tell them what you're looking for, and they'll set out and find what fits your parameters, handle the negotiating, gather history reports, and even arrange financing. Before you know it, you're behind the wheel of your new car. Take hunting for a new vehicle off of your to-do list and give it to Mike Lather with JFR and Associates. Give him a ring at 720-266-4941, 720-266-4941. Tell Mike that you heard about him on Drive Radio and get back to enjoying your kids' wonderful impromptu recorder concert.
This is ASE Automotive Professional Pam Oaks, letting you know it's time for summer vacation travel, and I want you to be safe on the roads this season. Stuff happens. A flat tire, a fender bender. And here at Car Care for the Clueless, we've got your back. Today's travel box tip, a battery jump box. Throw away those jumper cables. A battery jump box can save your summer vacation. Leave the headlights on, Need a quick charge for that cell phone? A battery jump box is your answer. The units can be purchased at a big box retail or home improvement store. Keeping you on the road this summer with Car Care for the Clueless.com, making you a savvy car consumer.
And this is Drive Radio, John Rose KLZ 560, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons. We've got Eric Larson, our Napa filter rep, and we have Mayanna, a race car driver, up-and-coming race car driver. We got some questions for her that Larry just threw at us a minute ago, which if Larry could call in, it would really help. No, never mind. I don't mean that, Larry. Not at all. We don't need you to call in. You're on the other side of the glass. Let's go to Don real quick, who's got a question on Napa filters, or on filters, I should say. Don, welcome.
Good morning, guys. First, I'd like to say I've been listening to you for years, and thanks for continuing to put on your program.
You bet.
And then for the Napa guy, the filter, I have a 05 Cadillac CTS, run mobile oil, but Napa still, after many years, does not provide the platinum filter for that car, the canister type. And you guys talk about all these premium filters, but unavailable for my Cadillac. So are they planning coming with one out for these kind of cars, or are we still stuck with the gold with our full synthetic oil?
If it's a, go ahead.
I was just going to mention I was back at Wix in the first part of April, and we are putting in 2 more new.
Okay, time out. Who's Wix?
Oh,
for those that may not understand that.
Wix Filters out of Gastonia, North Carolina, is the they manufacture Napa filters.
Which is one of the leading oil filter manufacturers in the world.
We started our partnership with Napa back in 1966. We're having our 50th anniversary being private branded. So as I was back there, because cartridge filters are becoming more
common
than the can filters.
Yeah, back when that car was built, it was unique to have a cartridge filter. But in today, and by the way, what engine do you have in that? I didn't ask that.
I have the 3.6.
Okay, the 3.6. Yeah, that's a canister filter. And go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
No, you're fine. Go right ahead.
And
they actually do show that one now.
Yes, they do. It is a 47. It's a 47090. Yep. And so as we get to make, as we bring more cartridge style filters out, we're building more lines because the cans are going away. So, and it's a very different process to make that platinum filter because it's a full synthetic man-made media. That's
versus a regular
blended cellulose paper.
Got it.
That when some of the issues we run into that is at Wix, we put our wire mesh with our fiberglass and we pleat it as one piece.
Okay.
Then as it goes through the pleater and comes down the line, we cut it. One of the things that we're running into is when we cut that wire mesh, it dulls our blades up. So we have a lot more maintenance on the new platinum style filters with the media.
Got it.
So yes, you do have that available now.
Yeah, and again, real quick, Don, just so you know, you can write this down. It's 47090 is the platinum cartridge filter for your car.
Okay, I got that down. I appreciate that. It was just a few weeks ago when I did my latest oil change, still unavailable. So it's like,
they may not have looked it up correctly because that one's probably been out for a little while just from looking.
They might not be stocking that filter. They might have to get it for
exactly.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, and just for example, just as and I think I can tell you this openly, but what Ray is saying is correct. There's not a parts store where I buy my parts from, so I'm up in the north part of Colorado, where I actually have all of my parts listed. I'm talking Boulder, Thornton, Louisville, Erie, Brighton, and on we go. No stock in any of the stores, but the DC has 8 of them. So there is inventory at the distribution center. The store would have to bring it in for you, but it is available.
All right. Well, I appreciate that information.
You're very welcome.
And my next oil change, I'll be
there. You go. You're set.
Finally.
All right, Don. Appreciate the phone call very much. Let's go to Roger real fast. And it went long distance caller, Roger from Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Here's the problem. I've been beating on cars a real long time, but I got a transmission that doesn't want to shift. Doesn't seem like it wants to shift out of third.
Okay.
It goes in reverse, goes up to third, and sticks. Originally, when my sister-in-law brought me the van over, it popped a code. It popped up P0725. Two different websites, two different scenarios. One after the speed sensor. We replaced that. That didn't yield anything. Second website said, hey, replace the crank position sensor. I didn't put a lot of faith in that one at first, but lo and behold, it cleared the code, but still didn't fix the problem. Problem is, it still doesn't shift.
Well, and to start with, and I apologize, what are we working on?
It's a 2003 Dodge Grand Caravan.
Okay, it's a Grand Caravan.
Yeah, 3.3 liter.
Okay. And it will not upshift at all, or is it just a certain gear it won't shift up to?
It seems like it gets to third, and it seems like it's just stuck there. So, I asked around. A couple of my nephews, one of them studying to be a diesel mechanic, he said, well, why don't you throw some Lucas in it and see if that does anything?
Yeah.
And I went old school. My father, on the other end of the spectrum, said, back in the 70s, he swears by Transex because he had a Pinto that wouldn't go in reverse. And he said, we threw a quart of that in there and drove 60 miles, and lo and behold, it went into reverse after that.
Okay.
So now my buddy Tom, a good friend of mine, says, that's kind of like snake oil. And I said, well, I realize that. And the problem is we're just trying to get her down the road for a little longer until she can get herself a decent new car.
Go ahead, Ray.
How many miles is on this, Roger?
Oh, I'm going to guess 153,000.
153?
Yeah.
What's the fluid condition look like in the transmission itself?
Well, that's another fun thing. So we've changed the filter on this thing a few times, and right now the fluid looks good, but it leaks like a sieve. Here in the Rust Belt of Wisconsin, trying to seal stuff up here is loads of fun. So it's been leaking for a while.
So basically, just make sure I'm following along, and I apologize for being a dummy here, but it'll shift from first to second to third, but it will not shift out of third and go into overdrive. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, exactly.
So your top speed is 50, 55-ish at best?
Oh, no. We're only getting up to about 40. So what you're probably telling me now is it's not getting in the high.
You're not even getting into third gear then. Yeah, you're in second gear.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not coming out of second.
I hate to say this, but
we get to about 40, and she's probably doing about $3,000.
You're in second. You're either in first or second gear. Probably second gear at that point.
Okay.
I would say you're probably, my personal opinion or whatever with the miles and stuff is just third gear is out of the transmission. So all the third gear is out of the transmission.
In other words, there's the band, the drum, the way everything operates, the way an automatic transmission works is it applies pressure to a band. Right. The band applies to the drum engages the planetary. That's how the shift actually happens. Right. And what Ray's saying is that's not able to happen in that transmission.
Yeah, the clutch material is gone in third gear, so it's slipping, so it stays in second and won't shift up.
Now, here's a question for you. When it is in that gear and you let off the gas, does it feel like there's any compression braking coming out of the engine, or does it just feel like you're in neutral?
No, I guess the correct term would be I'm feeling compression braking because the engines would definitely slow it back down again.
Okay, so it does have. Second gear is in good shape at that point because it does have compression braking, and it could also have an electronic problem where it's not telling the valve body to actually apply pressure to shift it into third gear. Have you had a scan tool or anything on it to even see if it's commanding third gear?
Well, the one I've got is just a basic one. It's not a...
Yeah, you need to get a scan tool on it. And Larry, our transmission guy in here, is actually shaking his head knowing where I'm headed with this. You need to be driving the car, scan tool in hand. Usually you put somebody in the driver's seat, somebody in the passenger seat, because we don't want to do this, simultaneously while you're driving. But whoever's in the passenger seat is looking at the scan tool to see, is the computer commanding the shifts? If it's commanding the shift and nothing's happening, then you've either got a problem from the ECU, from the brain of the end, from the computer, I should say, the transmission itself saying, go ahead and shift, and there's no signal being sent down to it. The communication is lost, is what I'm trying to say. If it's never commanding it, then you got a whole other set of issues. If it's commanding it and the signal's being sent and it's being received and it's not doing anything to race point, it could just be third gear's gone.
Okay. And at that point, it's like, what?
Put a transmission in it.
Well, except for this van at this point is really not worth spending that kind of money.
Well,
You know
I mean,
what I'm
what's the condition of the rest of the van like?
Well, 2003 here in Wisconsin has major cancer.
So it's not worth fixing, is what you're saying.
Exactly. And that's kind of, we told her probably last fall that, look, there's a point of no return. We've done stuff to keep it running. The engine runs great. It's a great running engine, but it's the rest of the vehicle is just, we've done brake work, half the lines are rusted to death.
Right. And keep in mind, again, first things first, what I would do next before you even condemn any of it at this point, get a scan tool on it that somebody can actually, read what's going on, see if it's being commanded to shift. And then from there, you can check solenoid packs and things like that to see if all of that is functioning properly. Because if it's not, and it's not actually being told to go into third gear inside the valve body, well, then it's never going to go to third gear.
And that's kind of what it seemed like, when you're driving it, that kind of seems like, after reading this stuff, that's kind of what it seems like is going on. It doesn't seem like it's telling it, hey, you can upshift. You know what I mean?
Got it. And that could very well be the case. And there's lots of things that could be hindering it from saying shift into third gear. Again, with a scan tool in hand, and I'm saying a good scan tool, not some cheesy scan tool, but I mean a really good high-end scan tool.
Cheesy one. So.
You need a high-end scan tool where you can check all the PIDs, look at the inputs, see exactly what's going on, what's commanding it, what are the readings, is it picking up speed sensors, all those different things, so it knows it can shift into third gear.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, cool.
Head that direction. And thanks for listening long distance, Roger. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care. So, Larry, we've got listeners all over. That's what that TuneIn app and online stuff does for you. People can listen everywhere. Literally, you can listen all around the world now. Sure. So it's really a beautiful thing. So, and by the way, we are heard on 4 stations here in Denver. So AM 560, AM 1220, 95.3 FM, and 100.7 FM. You can hear us also live at 560thesource.com or the TuneIn app. Just search for AM 560 here in Denver. With that, we'll be right back. We're not going anywhere. We'll take your calls. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Eric Larson, Ray Seidel, and Diana Wick. All with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car has up to 24 different onboard computers, making repairs more complicated than ever. Without the right tools, some of these repairs are nearly impossible. Once again, Extreme Auto Repair in Parker has gone to the extreme for you. Extreme owner Dennis Brewster invested in the very same scanning tools the dealerships use. This is important because by using these specialized scan tools, they can directly connect your car's computer system to the actual manufacturer for instant diagnostics. Manufacturer specs and all of the up-to-date, detailed repair information your technician needs to properly fix your car. Best of all, they are faster and always cheaper than the dealerships. Extreme Auto Repair, the most technologically advanced car care center in Douglas County. Tell them you listen to KLZ and they'll take 20% off your bill. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker, going to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
In a flash, from out of nowhere, your whole life can change forever. In happened so quickly, nobody saw it coming. Soon the medical bills were arriving. Will insurance cover your injuries? Does the other driver have assets? Should I sue? It was his fault after all. After an accident, you need to call the law offices of Flesh Law. Flesh Law will never settle until you are fully compensated for your injuries.
Call 303-806-8886 for the Flesh Law Firm. 303-806-8886. Online, go to fleshlawfirm.com.
Flesh Law, the trial-tested, trial-ready attorneys.
Seatbelts, airbags, onboard radar, laser, and camera systems. The vehicle safety technology available on today's cars and trucks is impressive, but none of it will keep you safe if you're driving on worn-out brakes. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker is a brake repair specialist. There are many reasons for noisy brakes, and most of them are simple fixes, but there's always the chance that something dangerous is going on. Take your car to Extreme Auto Repair of Parker, and their ASE certified master techs will be happy to take a look, just to be on the safe side. Extreme Auto Repair is huge, with 20 service bays, so they always have room for you, especially if you tell them you're a KLZ listener. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker. Call ahead for even faster service, 303-841-1071. 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair. Going to the extreme for 17 years.
Know-how! Some people steer clear of store brands, but Napa Conventional Motor Oil for $2.19 a quart is more than a store brand. It has the Napa logo on it, a logo that represents quality and knowledge. The same logo on the store and that guy's shirt. So pick up Napa Conventional Motor Oil for $2.19 a quart. Only available at, you guessed it,
10 seconds.
that's Napa Know-How. Careful states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 5/31/16.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush Rose, KLZ 560. Eric Larson from Napa Filters is with us. Ray Seidel, of course, from Four Seasons is here. And we've got a very famous race car driver, Myanna Wick, with us. And we're learning about, even during the breaks, learning about racing and all the different things. One thing I wanted to mention before you leave, Myanna, is the fact that, and this doesn't happen with every race car driver out there, especially, I shouldn't even say female race car drivers. It just doesn't happen very often with race car drivers, period. They typically don't work on their own vehicles, do they?
No, most of the time you show up and drive, and driving, it has its own side to it. Like, it's very difficult, and you need to train to do that. But most drivers don't work.
They
on
don't
their
know
car.
a 9/16 from a half-inch wrench, do they?
No. Most of the time they don't know the difference between metric and American.
Okay, that's even better.
Right? So no, it's been awesome, and especially being able to work with my team and slowing down and testing this year. It's really been awesome because all winter I've just been in the shop with them working and pulling my car apart and working on.
Do you think that gives you an advantage, knowing the car itself more so than some of the other drivers, where they drive, they know the car, they can feel the car, but they in some cases might not even, and I know, because I know this is a struggle in the racing world, they may not even know how to communicate correctly to the crew chief what actually is going on with the car. In your world, that's not the case because you know the car.
Right. Yeah. And no, right on. Like, that is so difficult. That's a huge part of racing because, you as the driver, one, you have to have this own ability to be able to feel what's going on with the car, to be able to know what to say is going on with the car and what you need done. But to communicate that back to your team and your crew, that is like you two are talking in two different languages.
Very true. Very true.
And growing up in karts, when I really didn't know that much about mechanicking and all that, like, people would just look at me and be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And that's the way a lot of it is. And like, they bring trainers in to train the drivers of, you need to say this, this, and this, because if
You've got a vibration in the car, where's it coming from? Well, it's sort of like us at a service counter when a customer walks in and says, I have a vibration in the car. Okay, well, now it's the job of the service advisor to pull the information from that customer. Okay, is it coming from the front? Is it coming from the back? Is it in the center? Is it at this speed, that speed? Is it harmonic? All these different things. And if drivers understood all of that and they could relay that faster, well, then the car gets fixed faster.
It's so true. And that's a lot of the time you come back to pits and you sit down and you talk for 40 minutes about what to do, and then you fix the car for 20.
Right.
And that's just
right.
the thing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
The communication factor is huge. So those of you listening, if you don't have a facility, a shop that's doing exactly what Mayanna is just talking about. In other words, if you don't have somebody that you can communicate with that understands you, that can interpret what you're saying, find a new shop. And I mean that sincerely. We inside the Colorado Select groups, all of our members, they'll do exactly what we're talking about. They're going to interpret that information. They're going to decipher it and then give it to the technician. In some cases, you're talking to the technician, which also helps, right, Ray?
Yes. Yeah. I said on the smaller shops, that's a good thing where you can actually talk to
Pull the tech up.
Pull the tech up and or take them for a drive. Yep. That's the other thing. You can do that so they can actually try and,
that rarely, and I'm not trying to beat anybody up here, but that rarely happens inside of especially large dealerships. The chances of you getting a technician to come to the counter when you're there dropping your vehicle off to explain something to them, first of all, they don't even know what technician's going to work on your vehicle at 7 o'clock in the morning, nonetheless, which one to bring up to have you talk to.
And and some of those techs, you might not want them to talk to people.
Probably true, Ray. And that's not a dig. That's just a true statement. And
Yes.
Mayanna, you know exactly what we're talking about in that realm, because there are certain individuals that are very people oriented, and there are certain individuals that are not.
Yes. I mean, and again, and that actually comes from experience. I mean, inside of my shop, the customers talk to the technicians, and they talk to them on a regular basis. Now, my younger technician hadn't had a lot of experience talking to people. He's getting a lot better because he's done it for 4 or 5 years now.
Right.
So
Right.
with
But in
that
the beginning,
practice-
wasn't that great?
No, not at all. I mean, so Ben, you're working at it. That's part of your career. So you need to communicate with the people so you can fix their cars better.
All right, so before we end this hour, Eric, real quick, I talked about this earlier in the show, and I want to make sure we get to it. Customers, shopping around, they're going to do their own oil change. They're at, any big box store trying to buy a filter.
Okay.
Maybe they're not smart enough to go to Napa. I'm sorry, they just didn't. They didn't show up there. Okay, they're not in a Napa parts store. They're trying to figure out what filter to buy. How do they know a good from a bad filter?
Well, a lot of times, price. If you're buying a $3 filter, you're getting
You
a
get what you
$3
pay for?
filter. Yes.
But does that always mean that if I pay a lot of money for a filter, I'm getting a good filter?
No, there's also brands, out there that you could pay $15 for that might have very good media, but they still have leaf springs in the can instead of coil springs. They got straight seam center tubes when they need spiral seam center tubes. So there's a lot.
There's still differences even on the high quality quote unquote filters.
Yes. So they might have a very good paper or media within that filter, but let's just take straight seam center tubes, which comes in your value line. It's easy to tell. You look at the bottom of the can. If you see a seam, straight seam center tube. So conditions like today, yesterday we're 73 degrees. Today we're back down to 40, 38. Cold morning startups. We have a lot of differential pressure. That straight seam center tube's good for 60 to 75 PSI differential. Okay. So if you're cold morning startups and that filter happens to be at the end of the life, you can suck that center tube right in.
Got it.
A spiraled seam center tube is good for 175 to 180 PSI differential, and everything is built around that center tube.
Got it.
So
really, you just take the filter, look down the middle of it, and you can see right what you're talking
exactly.
about. Okay,
Exactly.
great tip. All right, this is perfect. All right, we ending the first hour here of Drive Radio, coming to the end. We've got 2 more hours coming your way. I forgot to mention this earlier. If you are listening on Sunday, you are welcome to listen. We are glad you're listening. You can email us at john@drive-radio.com or go right to our website, drive-radio.com. But you cannot call us because there's no one here to answer the phone because it's a replay show. So if it's Sunday afternoon, thank you so much for listening. We really, really do appreciate it. But you can't call in. We've got Ray Seidel, 4 Seasons with us, Eric Larson's Napa Filters, Mayanna Wick. And so Mayanna, how do people find out more about you? Where do they go to find out?
Yes, go to MayannaWickRacing.com, which is MIANNAWICK racing.com. And all my social media links are right there. You can connect with me right there.
Perfect. All right. So you can find her on Facebook, find her on the web. Really cool. Watch her grow as she continues her career. And it's really cool to see folks from Colorado because we are not a huge racing state, not by a long shot. We'll talk about some of that in the second hour. So it's cool to see locally grown drivers do really well. So we'll follow her in her career. Let's do this, Mindy. We'll take a real quick time out for the news here at the top of the hour. We'll come back. Hour number 2 coming up next, right here on Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com
Email your questions and comments, download previous programs, and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
It's springtime in the Rockies with Sportsman of Colorado. Hi, this is Scott Watley. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 1. We'll tell you where the fish are biting with our fishing experts from Discount Fishing Tackle. We'll talk with some of our favorite outfitters for turkey and the upcoming Colorado big game season. The Limits Archer will be here to get you ready for your archery season. All that and more on Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays 1 to 2 p.m. right here on KLZ 560. Check out our website, sportsmanofcolorado.com. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado.
Right now, The Source is simulcasting in AM and FM. KLZ Denver, AM 560. KLZ FM 100.7. And KLDC Denver, AM 1220 and FM 95.3. KLDC HD Denver and KLZ HD Denver with online listening at 560thesource.com.
USA Radio News with John DeMaster.
The White House dismissing criticism from Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick over the administration's new transgender bathroom guidelines. The guidelines say public schools should allow transgender students to use the bathroom of their choice. Schools that don't comply with the new guidelines could risk losing federal funding. The president asks for increased funding to fight opioid addiction in his weekly radio address. Legislation to curb opioid and heroin addiction goes to the Senate after passing the House. The president says it doesn't go far enough.
This week, the House passed several bills about opioids, which is great, but unless they also make investments in more treatment, it won't get Americans the help that they need.
Today's the U.S. Postal Service's annual Stamp Out Hunger food drive. Non-perishable food items can be left near your mailbox for your mail carrier to pick up. This is USA Radio News.
Hey everybody, singer-songwriter Brett Watts here. If you're like me, always on the go, and don't have time to stay as healthy as we would like by eating all the right foods, well, I found an incredibly simple and easy way to get all my fruits and vegetables at once. It's called Daily Lift, L-I-F-T. It's a superfoods energy drink mix supplement that fills the gaps between what you eat and what you don't always have time to eat. This unique formula is packed with 16 plus fruits and vegetables and 59 superfoods, no MSG or GMO. It's all natural and organic. Nature's best combination of antibiotics, enzymes, probiotics, and beneficial algaes in one powdered drink mix. Comes in 2 flavors, mint and berry, and both delicious. Daily Lift nutrients help balance your body's pH levels and boost your energy naturally. And it's safe for kids. So let's fire up that immune system and stay focused. Go to www.onedailylift.com. That's ONE, dailylift.com. OneDailylift.com, and let's get healthy.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a full barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
What's this?
The Chevy didn't make a 327 to 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel car till 64. However, In 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio, hour number 2. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, heard on 95.3 and 100.7 FM, as well as the TuneIn app and 560thesource.com. Ray Seidel with us in studio today and taking care of things. I appreciate Ray and all hard work you do for Colorado Select. Appreciate it.
Been a great show so far.
Yeah, been a lot of fun. Anna Wick is with us also. And Anna, as we left the last hour, we mentioned your website. Give that out one more time.
MiannaWickRacing.com. So MiannaWick racing.com.
Racing.com. All right, perfect. I'm writing this down just so I can add it to, I'll have Dan add that onto our Facebook page to get all that done. So Dan, if you're listening, which I know you are, get that added to Facebook for us. We'd appreciate that very much. Eric Larson also from Napa Filters. Appreciate you joining us. Lines are open. Questions for Eric, Ray, myself, or Mianna, call now, 303-477-5600. Doesn't matter what it is. So one thing that Larry asked earlier, Mianna, about you and what you do and so on is, number one, is there any type of, formal training, things like that when it comes to race car drivers, or do you just pick it up on your own?
No, well, a lot of racing is, a lot of racers start out in the family. And so, you go to the track, you get some training beforehand, but
you're just sort of immersed in it, right?
Right. Yeah. And you can go to a local track. They can usually hook you up and where you want to go. If you tell them where you want to go, you can get hooked up there. But also, it's just like with any kind of sport. Like if you do volleyball, if you want to do it seriously, or if you do football and you want to do it seriously, you have to go to a camp. You have to go through training. You have to do things right. And so with racing, it's very spread out over the United States, especially.
Okay.
And
is that why we here don't have as many drivers that really excel and go as far? Because I want to be careful how I say this. I'm not saying there's not a lot of good, solid drivers in this Colorado area. In fact, I'm convinced that there's probably a lot more than you think. They just never get that opportunity because we are not, and I hate to say this, but it's true, we're not a racing state, are we?
We aren't. No, and it comes as a difficulty because not a lot of people know about drivers in Colorado. And so you really have to be determined to get out there and go a lot of places to do things. And I don't know why that is. It could be a lot of because Colorado
altitude has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, altitude and weather. Like most drivers, if you live in Arizona or if you live in California, Florida, wherever, you can drive most of the year.
Almost 12 months out of the year. Darn near. Actually, Arizona, you can drive 12 months out of the year.
It's true. And that is a lot of
Southern California, Florida, those areas. And those are where a lot of the big racing teams are stationed down south, areas like that, to your point. And weather has a big factor on it. Our altitude has a big factor because it's hard to get vehicles to run as well as they possibly can at a mile high elevation. It just is because we don't have the air. You have at the lower elevations. We don't have the air and the density to actually make a vehicle run as well as it could other places. Although if you get one to run up here, I'm convinced you can darn near make them run about anywhere you want. Because if you can get it tackled up here at this thin air, you can pretty much do it anywhere you want to. That's why a lot of teams, Mianna, and you know this, struggle when they come to Pikes Peak. They can run really, really well in a lot of other areas. They get to Pikes Peak, and the elevation change from starting to end is so huge, some teams never can overcome that elevation change.
Right. Yeah. And I know that that's a huge thing. My team also, Loophole Racing, also helps out with Paul Dollenbeck with the hill climbs. And so they do all that. And just to kind of hear how much elevation changes, like the power that leaves, that's ridiculous.
Huge.
Yeah.
No, it's huge. It really is. In fact, when I do our new car reviews, which, by the way, if you want to see our car reviews, you can go to our website, drive-radio.com. They're all listed there. We have our own YouTube channel that it just forwards to. And I would encourage you to do that. If there's any vehicle you're interested in, please go there, look at our reviews. But one thing I mention in our reviews all the time is when I talk about a car, how well I think it runs, the acceleration, and all those different things, keep in mind, those are my views at a mile high. Now, you take that same vehicle, go to sea level, it's going to feel extremely different than it does here at our elevation, with the exception of vehicles that are turbocharged. So you take a turbocharged vehicle or a diesel with a turbocharger on it, and you will not see a huge difference. There is a difference, but it's not as significant as a naturally aspirated engine is going from a mile high down to sea level. But again, I'm sure that you guys in what you're doing on the hill climb side of the fence, that's a big task. And if you guys can tackle that, honestly, you can tackle anything.
Yeah, Loophole's awesome with that hill climb side.
Awesome. All right, so Napa filters. If you got any questions, anything at all when it comes to oil changes, filters, media, filters are so, I don't want to say confusing, but there's no, and Eric, you know what I'm saying here, there's no standardization when it comes to filters. I mean, there's not even, and I'm not saying there should be, by the way, I'm not a government regulation kind of guy, so I'm not going there, I'm not saying there should be, but there's nothing saying what a minimum standard oil filter should be, is there?
Correct. That's it. You can build any, excuse me, anything you want. Look at the stuff coming out of China. There's good China and there's bad China. And what I mean by that is you got your companies such as us who have our Chinese plants, and we have to follow the regulations and the standards that we have with WICS. But then you can go to those backwoods type companies, and that's where we get a lot of problems coming in, because they'll say, we'll have one that disintegrates, and automatically they say, do not use aftermarket oil filters. When it was this offshore product that's put together very, very poorly, the paper can't even flow. Today, what do we flow? 18 to 21 gallons a minute now through our engines, and the paper falls apart.
Wow.
So you got to really stick with the quality.
No, you really have to know what you're doing. You have to watch it. So, Mayanna, when it comes to your car, first of all, tell us a little bit about your car. How fast does it go? What kind of engine does it have? I mean, is everything on the car 100% custom, or are there parts that you can buy off the shelf from Napa to do some of the things that you do? Tell us about that.
Well, obviously, it's a car, so you can buy some parts from Napa. Obviously, there's some parts in it that is very racing stuff, very racing regulated, I should say. But I currently have a 1996 Lola IndyCar, and so Lola is the chassis that I run, which is the framing, the tubing of the car. And then I have a small Chevy Bach engine in it. And so that's kind of the engine, and it should reach top speeds. And mind you, we don't hit top speeds all the time because we have to gear down for road courses and all of that.
Okay.
But it should reach speeds of 240 miles an hour. My engine was dynoed at about 810 horsepower.
Okay. That's a good running car.
Yeah, it's got some kick in it. And it's really light. I want to say, I think it's like 1650 with driver in it.
It's a lot of horsepower with not a lot of weight.
Right.
So what's top speed?
Top speed, I have never been GPSed yet, just simply because we haven't actually been at a race, and it takes equipment to do that. But our goal when we go to Road America this summer for the hockey event, the International Challenge with Brian Reedman this summer, we're going to be out there, and our goal is to hit 190 miles an hour down the straightaway, and it's a road course. So that's 190 miles an hour when you're standing it on end on brake to meet the corner. So it's going to be insane. It's going to be awesome.
That's a good run, by the way. It's let me see how I can explain this. You're also driving a car that's a more open car, which means it doesn't have doors that shut and so on and so forth. And I just know from experience that driving anything over 100 miles an hour in an open vehicle versus something that's totally enclosed, they're not one and the same, are they?
No, they're not. And specifically, like, there's a lot of engineering that goes behind my car. Like, specifically, us as drivers, we have to be certain, like, dimensions inside of the cockpit. And so we sit in the middle of a car, and there's basically a hole above us, or above the car. Like, when we're sitting in the cockpit, there's a hole that's cut out that you sit in a seat in the middle. Your steering wheel's right there, and then your legs go in the middle of the car, and you have your suspension, your coils on the side of your legs, basically, when you sit in there. And so you have to be down a certain way. Like, when I'm looking, I can't see right in front of my car. I can't see what's right in front
You
of my
can't see
wing.
the front end of the car, really, is what you're saying, right?
Right. Yeah. Because we have to be so low. And part of that is for buffeting purposes for their helmet. Like as fast as you get, we get the vacuum effect with our helmets and it just gets to sucking your helmet off. Like if you're not right. And
That's right.
Bell Racing, I have a Bell helmet and they offer a lot of really good things. Like they have these gurneys that you put on your helmet to help out with that aspect. But a lot of it,
You can keep some of the air from coming in to actually try to lift the helmet off, right? Because that's what happens.
Right.
You get that going that fast, that thing wants to lift off your head, literally, right?
right. Yeah.
And if you're not careful, the pressure even on your neck, because it's still trying to lift off. I don't care how tight the helmet is, it's still trying to lift off your head, right?
Mhm.
Which means your head's trying to get lifted off.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, it's a sport. You got to have those muscles to keep your helmet
Right,
on.
exactly right. No, I know exactly. I've done it. I've not been that fast, but I know exactly what you're talking about because being in an open car, it's just I don't know how to explain it. What I used to say when I was racing back in the day was, driving in an open car at let's say 150 miles an hour is like driving in a closed car at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because the feeling is such when you're in the it's like being on a motorcycle. When you're out in the open, there's nothing around you. Yeah, there's maybe this fiberglass shell and such that's around you, but literally you can just look out and there's pavement, there's everything right around you. There's not this door you just slam to get into the car. It's a lot different situation.
Right. You're very vulnerable when you get into it. You're very vulnerable as a driver, and it's like anything can fly right into the cockpit. We get bugs on our visors. We get all sorts of things. Like everything is open right there.
Wow. So what's the worst thing that's ever happened driving the car when it comes to some weird thing along those lines? And in other words, not some wild crash or anything along those lines. I'm just talking about what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened when you've been driving?
The weirdest thing that has ever happened. That's it.
You want to think about it through the break?
Yeah, I'll
All right,
think
let's
about
do that.
it.
We got a break coming up. We come back. We'll find out what the weirdest thing is that Mayanna has faced. We'll talk about that here in just 1 second. So don't go anywhere. This is Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
When you pick up an Evercraft 26-piece screwdriver set for $19.99 at Napa, you're not just getting 26 beautiful chrome-plated instruments. You're getting something that shows the world if there's a problem, you've got 26 ways to tackle it. That's $19.99 for a 26-piece screwdriver set and 26 ways to show you're the man for any job that requires screwdrivers. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
Does your vehicle drive straight? Are your tires wearing even? Have you hit a few curbs or potholes lately? If any of these sound familiar, then you should have your alignment checked. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we have the latest in alignment imaging technology to give you the perfect alignment. Many times, extra parts are needed to keep the tires wearing correctly. Call or stop in at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue, just west of Sims. 303-422-1065.
At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether your furry friend needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and hold a gold star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. Learn more about us by visiting our website at LoneTreeVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power requires unique GDI maintenance. BG Products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and they back it up with a lifetime BG protection plan. Go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. If you have a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters. BG.
We know what it's like, trying to find an auto mechanic that you can trust. As a consumer, you feel helpless. A friend recommends a shop.
You try them out, they seem okay for a while, but see how they react when they miss something. Mistakes happen, but it's what they do next that is very telling. Colorado Select is a group of like-minded independent shop owners who should be competitors, but are instead so driven to provide the best possible customer experience possible. They all work together to make sure that you, the customer, is always super served with the best service and the best auto repair in the industry. Every Colorado Select Car Care Center is owned by an ASE certified master technician, and every Colorado Select member offers a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair.
10 seconds.
They promise to make it right without any hassle. Get to know the Colorado Select Car Care Center nearest you. Find one at coloradoselect.org.
All right, this is John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons with us. We have Eric Larson from Napa Filters. If you want to call us, by the way, lines are open. I know we've been talking a lot about racing and different things today, but you're welcome to call us. Any questions that you've got, we'll take them. 303-477-5600. Mayanna Wick is with us. It's MayannaWickRacing.com. And so we asked a moment ago, what's the weirdest thing, driving? And not necessarily wrecks or things like that, but just what's the weirdest thing driving that's ever happened?
Weirdest thing. Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of what happens when we're out on a racetrack, we have to be prepared for everything that happens. So, not a lot has surprised me if oil comes in or if something comes flying and it's, coming right at you. You just got to be prepared for all of it. Probably the coolest thing that has ever happened would be when after a race, I had just finished all this race, all of the corner workers, it was kind of funny and kind of weird, I'm not going to lie. All the corner workers stood up, they got out of their booths, and they have these high booths because they're on every corner and they're stationed and all that. And they all got out and they started clapping and they started giving all these applauds. And I went around the corner and it was down off of an elevation drop. And so at the bottom of this hill, this guy is on the asphalt and he is on his hands and knees, literally just crying and praising to me. And I was like, okay, gotta dodge the guy in the middle of the road,
that is a little weird.
Sort of weird.
That's a little weird one. Yeah.
Uh-huh. But it was awesome. It was so cool. And just to see how people fall in love with this. That's what's cool about this sport.
Well,
I think.
And they, not trying to be, weird or anything here, but I'm sure they're falling in love with you. You're very marketable. You've done a good job. You've got a really nice website. You've got a line of apparel that you also sell. So talk about that.
Yeah, I love making all this stuff because fans, they love that. And that's a big part of racing to me is being able to give back to the fans as well. And so I have a great line of apparel. I have women's tank tops. I have women's t-shirts. I have just men t-shirts, unisex t-shirts, all sorts of stuff, hats. I'm even making some laptop covers, that sort of things that you would just have padding and all that. And so, yeah, go to Mayanna Wick Racing. There's a little store button right on there and you can get hooked up right there, order stuff right
I see that.
there.
You can go right online, order it right there. They'll ship it right to you. And again, it's MayannaWickRacing.com. It's MIANNA Wick, WICK, racing.com. You can go there, check out all the different things that are going on. I assume you will continue to keep folks abreast as to what's going on inside of your racing world, what you win, where you're going, where you're going to be next, and all of that.
Correct. Yeah. Every day posting on social media, doing all that stuff. So yes.
All right. So it's social media is just mind-boggling. The information can come out instantaneously.
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally, you could finish a race and a few seconds later, boom, you've posted, you're done, you've got everything handled. Or even before the race starts, you're posting and telling everybody that didn't happen, guys. When we were her age, that didn't happen. There was no social media back then. Social media was you carried a dime in your pocket so you could go to the local payphone if you could find one, and then you had to call whoever you wanted to call. Usually for me, it was calling home to make sure that my folks knew where I was because that was the only way we communicated back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're old.
Yep.
It works, right, guys?
That's it.
I mean, no joke. You had to keep 2 or 3 dimes in your pocket because you never knew what payphone you needed to use to call home, right?
And now find a payphone.
They don't exist.
Yeah. So
yeah, no. Payphones are like a thing. In fact, I see places in airports and such where there's been pay phones that they've taken out, and now people sit there with a laptop and a charger and do whatever they need to do because the pay phones are they're gone. Yeah, yeah, that's probably not a company that you wanted to own stock in towards the end because they were doomed. And there's still a few kicking around here and there, but not many. Anyways, we'll take calls 303-477-5600. So a moment ago, I talked about Mayanna, the sponsor side of the fence, the marketability, and one thing I don't think folks really think about when it comes to racing, the drivers, the sport itself, and I'm not sure a lot of our professional athletes think about this like they should, but the marketability factor is probably the number one thing you have to focus on a daily basis. Not just being a really great driver, but if you're not marketable, you can be the best driver in the world, is my point. You can be the best football player in the world, have terrible marketability, and you're not going to make near the money you should if you are the greatest and marketable. Am I right?
It's so correct. Like at the end of the day, you have to get that paycheck from some company. That is how you race. That is how you get out there, no matter how good you are. And granted, if you're not good, no one's going to want to pay you to go out there because you're never going to be focused on. People aren't going to love you. So you have to have, you have to balance it all, and you have to be good.
But you could take on a scale of 1 to 10, a driver that said, let's say a driver is an 8 versus a driver that's a 10. I'm guessing that over a lifetime, the driver that's an 8, that's very marketable and does a really great job with sponsors and all the different things that are involved with that, will probably make more money in their lifetime than the 10 will that's not very marketable.
It's so true. It's so true. Like, you can work out there and you can be so fast, but if you can't market for that company, like, it's done. And I say this all the time, like, my job is to be there for the sponsors, is to market, to do endorsements, to get out there for them to work. And then my bonus check is race day.
That's true. That's a great way to look at it. If you keep that perspective, I think you'll do well. And we just saw this just recently. We talked about the draft the other day. So everybody listening, I'm not sure how many people followed this or are aware of this, but there was one particular draft pick. I don't have his name in front of me right now, but he was supposed to go like 1 or 2, maybe 3. Right before the draft started, on Twitter went out him with a gas mask smoking a bong, marijuana. And it dropped him from like 2nd or 3rd to 9th. Cost him $9 million cash, $9 million cash check at the draft because of that one picture. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so incredible how big of a deal it is for you to be moral and for you to really carry yourself through this all. And I'm just going to say this. I'm a Christian and I am a firm believer in the Lord Jesus Christ. And so I always want to carry that. And that's a big reason of why I race, is to get out there for people. But being off the track, like, there's a lot of emotions during race day. Like, you work up for this. This is what everyone works for. And so you can get some crazy emotions. People can spout off. People can say some crazy things. And it's just what you say. That instantly is not likable to people. Like,
that's right.
Nobody wants to see that.
That's right. And if we could get everybody else out there, we talked yesterday on the show again about just jobs and young people and their careers and their futures and so on. And if the rest of the young world, in fact, a lot of old guys, if they would all think about what you just said and do that on a daily basis and become even more marketable as business owners, as employees. I mean, go down the list. I mean, question I should just throw out to everybody out there. As an employee, how marketable are you? In other words, how valuable to your own company are you? Because the more valuable you are, the better chance you have of going further with that company than if you're not very marketable with that company. Get my drift?
True. Yeah,
it's how it works, folks. Doesn't matter whether you're in Mayanna's position where you're doing it all for yourself because you're your own business basically at this point, or Eric, if you're like you working for Napa, it's all the same. At the end of the day, it's no different.
I got to have that filter.
Yeah, no, you do. You're exactly right. No, you're right. And don't get me wrong, guys. You still have to work hard. You still have to be good at what you do. You still have to know what you do. And in Mayanna, you're doing exactly that. But there's more. My point with all this is there's so much more to racing than just getting the car around the track. It's all of the other factors that, in fact, you're doing at 19, you're doing very well. You're very seasoned for being as young as you are. So good job on that. You've done very well. So we'll continue to follow you. We'll continue to watch you. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. If you got a question for Mayanna, you've got a question for Ray, Or for Eric on the filter side of the fence, give us a call. We'll be right back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Ken's and Leslie Distributing, your local BG products distributor. Back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. As spring rolls into full swing and the summer is just before us, many of us look to set off on our summer road trips. Many of these road trips can be as many as 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 miles, which means you better make sure that your car is in proper working condition before you set off for the road. So here are a few tips to help you get going. First and foremost, check your tire pressure. A proper tire inflation ensures the safety of your vehicle and can affect your fuel economy on your road trip by as much as 15%. Additionally, while you're on your road trip, you want to make sure you select your fuel stops appropriately. You can visit the website www.toptiergas.com to find the best fuel retailers where you're going. It's important to get the top tier fuels to protect for deposit control and ensure that you don't get any bad fuel on your trip. And of course, before you leave for your trip, check and top off all of your fluids. Don't forget the oil, the brake, the power steering, the coolant, and any other fluids specific to your vehicle. And last but not least, before setting off on a road trip is a perfect time to add a fuel system cleaner like the BG 44K to your fuel system. It'll give you the best cleanup possible as your car goes out on the road and ensure that you're getting the best fuel economy for that summer road trip. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
Know-how! Let's talk about noise pollution. Noise pollution caused by, AKA worn down, unsafe brakes. At Napa, we're doing our part to stop noise pollution by giving you up to a $50 Visa rebate card by mail on qualifying brake purchases. New brakes, money back, and the promise that you'll hear a lot less. That's Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
Seatbelts, airbags, onboard radar, laser, and camera systems. The vehicle safety technology available on today's cars and trucks is impressive, but none of it will keep you safe if you're driving on worn-out brakes. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker is a brake repair specialist. There are many reasons for noisy brakes, and most of them are simple fixes, but there's always the chance that something dangerous is going on. Take your car to Extreme Auto Repair of Parker, and their ASE certified master techs will be happy to take a look, just to be on the safe side. Extreme Auto Repair is huge, with 20 service bays, so they always have room for you, especially if you tell them you're a KLZ listener. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker. Call ahead for even faster service, 303-841-1071. 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair. Going to the extreme for 17 years.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
This is ASC Automotive Professional Pam Oaks, letting you know it's time for summer vacation travel, and I want you to be safe on the roads this season. Stuff happens. Lost keys, a broken window. Here at Car Care for the Clueless, we've got your back. Today's travel box tip, a can of Fix-A-Flat. There's nothing more deflating during a summer trip to come out into the parking lot and see that flat tire on your vehicle. A quick patch can get you to the repair shop.
15 seconds.
Remember, this is not a long-term repair. It's from the incident to the repair shop fix. Keeping you on the road this summer with CarCareForTheClueless.com, making you a savvy car consumer.
All right, this is John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, heard on 95.3 and 100.7 FM. David in Loveland, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, John. Just have a quick question here. I've got an ES300 that I moved up from Sea-Lot. It was down in Texas. Has 119,000 miles on it. Runs like a top, but I realized, is there any things that I need to change about it? And y'all were talking about oil filters. I haven't changed oil in it yet, obviously, and it's time to do it since I got it up here. In the Wix line, what's recommended, but back on the car itself, anything that I need to be aware of bringing it to our altitude where it will reside here for the rest of its life till it dies? So
None. All that's the one plus on all the new computerization that we've got with modern cars from really even the early 90s. You know, the end of the having to do a high altitude adjustment, for example, is what we used to do back in the day. And Ray remembers those, you know, like they were yesterday, I'm sure, Ray, but we haven't done those for a very long time. They just they're not needed anymore. Non-existent.
Nope. Yeah, everything is adjustable in the computers now.
okay. Now I've done a spark plug tune-up on it, and just need to change the oil. And as far as the oil filter, just get the top line.
Do the platinum filter if it's available, which it should be for that vehicle, and run full synthetic in that, which Toyota's going to, Lexus, which is Toyota's going to require anyways.
Exactly.
And
that's what I'll do.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's easy.
Yep. No, you're in good shape. By the way, that's one of my favorite cars of all time, by the way.
Yeah, my mother-in-law said she wouldn't give it up until she died, and she did. So she.
Well, there you go. It's a great. I mean, honestly, I'm not saying this just because Lexus and Toyota is so good to me, but that is just a fantastic, all-around great car. It really is.
Good deal.
So,
thank you, guys.
All right, have
Appreciate
fun
y'all.
with that, David. We appreciate it. Sorry about your mother-in-law passing away, but that's a great car you're getting in return. Eric, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, John. Hey, you were talking about with motorsports about how kind of out in the Wild West we are here in Colorado. I think part of the problem has been we've grown so much here. We lost Second Creek Raceway about 12 years ago because of growth. And kind of people whining about noise like they used to whine about the airport.
Right.
And, PPIR could not sustain itself. It barely does anything now. We've got High Plains Raceway, which it's almost more for clubs than for individuals to go out there and play around.
If you're going to do an individual deal, you got to go early in the year or late in the year because the rest of the year it's clubs and sanctioned events and so on. You're right.
Yeah, and I think this is where with Furniture Row Racing here, I think they're missing an opportunity to really help jumpstart some of the motorsports stuff in this area. I mean, Bandimere does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
For people in the know, there is still a lot of SCCA competition and stuff, but not as much as there used to be.
No, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I think we're dying for a big sporting complex. If somebody with some money would ever come in here and get the deal done, I'm sure, of course, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's viable or not, business-wise. I've never seen the numbers. I've heard people talk about it. I've heard some of the return on investment. I've heard that it would work. I've never seen the actual data myself to verify that. But here's my guess on that, Eric. There must be enough questions about some of the data and some of the numbers that some of the big-name guys with money haven't come in and done it. Otherwise, they would. Trust me. Guys want to make money all the time. If they thought they would, if they thought they could make it, they would.
Mm-hmm. Well, but I think it also comes into, they wanted to build the track out there in Aurora, and everybody was opposed to it. Everybody was opposed to it.
City shot it down.
Struck it down. Yeah, and this is why I say it's unfortunate. I mean, Furniture Row Racing does a great job being based out of here.
Agreed.
I mean,
Agreed.
You know, but this is an area where I personally think that them and the Bandomeers need to get together and work with the people who run the track up there in Erie, and really try to promote this area more and help promote this area more. And
Yeah, that's a tall order. And I know one of the three individuals that you're talking about there. And first of all, getting those three all on the same page, how they market, how they do it, what races they bring in, and so on. That's a tall order all in and of itself. To your point, though, how do we market Colorado and make it more viable for racing? That's the $1 million question. If somebody can answer that and make it happen, we'll have more racing here. But until then, not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they tried it with the Grand Prix of Denver. That was 2 years, and and it was a bust,
a dismal failure. They lost millions on those.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate. It is really unfortunate.
Keep this in mind too. The other problem that we have in Colorado, which does affect us, we don't have the population to overcome some of these factors, but some of what affects us on the motorsports end of things in Colorado is we have a great state. You have multiple things to choose from every single weekend to go and do from. I'm not going to put racing into it, but you've got great sporting events. You've got mountains. You've got hiking. You've got skiing. You've got boating. You've got fishing. You've got, you name it. We compete with, the motorsports world competes with a lot of things out there. And I'm not saying you don't compete with that in, say San Diego or Phoenix or areas like that. But when you've got a limited window of good days, like Manna was talking about earlier, when you've got a limited number of good days and you then are competing with all of these other things, let's face it, no offense, but folks in Florida don't have mountains. They don't compete with the same things we compete with.
It's so true. I was actually talking to Wally Dallenbach Sr. this year earlier, and it was just crazy because the talk is, what do you do in the evening here? You go on a hike, you go camping, you go fishing, you go see your kid's football game at school or whatever. Out east, that's the norm. You go watch the races. You go race.
That's right.
That's the normal.
It's a cultural thing here, Eric, as much as anything that we'd have to try to overcome to make racing a viable endeavor. And frankly, to me, that's the number one reason you've not seen a big racing conglomerate come to this town and be successful, is because the competition is too high in other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wonder if Furniture Row sticks it out and continues to do as good as they are, if maybe down the road they might help.
That
might help to overcome it.
Hard to say. Very, very, great point. Eric, appreciate the phone call. That's a tough one to say. And by no means am I an expert in this particular area. There are guys out there that claim a big racing arena, and a big event, combined Bandomeer, some of the open wheel stuff and so on, all into one would work. Frankly, though, just on a personal basis, I haven't seen the data, and I'm not sure I'm sold on that.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have the racing population. What I mean by population is folks, to your point, Manna, that will actually take off at the end of the day, go out to the racetrack, spend all weekend there. You've got to have the demographics to make that work. Otherwise, you're going to invest a lot of money and be very disappointed in that return.
It's true, and it has to become a fad per se here in Colorado. Like, it just has to start being that trending thing that, now, like, it has to be in those people's minds.
I agree with that. That's totally correct. Mark, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Well, Manna, I'm going to wish you good luck out of Road America. It'll be my 20th straight year going out there. I go to the Hawk every year.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. I hope to meet you out there.
Have you been there before?
I have not, no.
Oh, my goodness, young lady. You're going to be into sensory overload. You're going to be probably driving your race car down downtown Elkhart Lake Friday night. They have a tour that goes through the town on Friday night, and they have the concourse cars going through on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait.
It's most. That's why it's worth it to me. It's the most amazing track in the United States. I mean, it's 50, 60 years old.
Very
and
cool.
The scenery is beautiful, and it's fun. And I'll be looking for you on turn 6. That's where I hang out. Where you're going to have to slow down from probably 150 to 40.
Okay, I'll keep my eye out.
Very cool. That's great, Mark.
So, no, it's great. But she talked about morality. Don't hang out with me that weekend because I hang out with the boys. And it's cigars, beer, cheese curds, and bratwurst.
I think she knows better.
It's not that we're bad people, but it's I learned a long time ago. So I finished race one time in a 65 Porsche Coupe at Road America, I don't have the nerve, so my hobby in the sports car world is fine dining and touring.
Fine dining and touring. There we go.
Okay.
All right, Mark.
That's all I can do.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, I
Well, good luck
appreciate
to
it.
you.
Mark, thank you very much. And I'm sure she
Mark.
says the same. Yes.
Yes, thanks, Mark.
That's awesome. Appreciate it. Gary, you're next. What's going on, sir? Hello, Gary.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Great show. I have a 2014 Jeep Patriot with just a little over 27,000 miles on it. And when I come to a slow, I hear a humming sound coming from the right front wheel well areas. And it seems to happen more when the weather's warmer. Though it does happen in the cold weather, it doesn't happen all the time. But I don't know if it's going on when the RPMs are going faster, but it seems when I'm slowing down and just running at a parking lot speed, I hear that humming sound coming from that right front wheel well area.
Thoughts, Ray?
Yeah, nothing's coming to mind on that. It's on the right front.
I'm trying to think of what would be in the right front that would hum. Is it hum when the vehicle is in motion? In other words, is it more of a harmonic sound coming out of the wheel itself, or will it hum just sitting still at a stoplight?
No, it won't hum when it's sitting still. It's got to like when you're going through a parking lot.
So you're moving
at 5 miles per hour, you can hear that.
Wheel bearing, maybe.
Yeah,
but at 27,000, I doubt it.
Right, at that slow a speed, yeah, that's kind of weird. It could be a little bit of brake noise.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, because the pads are always rubbing against the rotors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you're getting some kind of friction there all the time. So that's a possibility. Yeah, so I definitely have somebody inspect that right front or both.
Did you say it's worse warm than cold, right?
Right, which again.
Right. When the weather's warmer out, you can hear it more than if it's colder. Like today, when I had it out in the early morning to take my dog for a walk, I didn't hear it in the parking lot.
Okay.
But on the warmer days, I'll hear that humming sound. And I thought it was maybe like, and I don't know, a brake pad sticking or something to the brake, but I don't hear any resistance from the brakes coming.
Right. Well, again, that's another sign of the brakes. When they get hotter, they tend to make a little more noise. It might be just a normal noise with the brake material we have. Sometimes you get weird noises here and there, but as far as safety, it'd be fine.
That car's still under warranty. At least bring it in, have them take a look, have them listen to it, make sure that there's nothing going on. But you should be, again, you're still under warranty. You've got plenty. Well, you don't have a lot of time left. You've got about 5,000 miles or so left.
Right.
Sorry, 9,000 left.
But yeah, you definitely need to make sure that it's a hot day and you can get it, so they can duplicate the problem.
Yep.
Well, I did bring it in once, and they said, yeah, bring it in on a hotter day, and I have it arranged to come in this week, and I got a couple cold days coming up this week, so I have to get it in on a hot day.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait till it's hot. And again, you got 9,000. You got 9,000 miles roughly to still be in warranty, so you're okay that way. Just when it starts to get warmer, just get it in.
Right. I would suspect the brakes. So.
Yep. All right.
Right. Okay,
Gary, you guys. Appreciate it very much. Mike is up next. We'll take you real quick before the break. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, hi. I just want to tip my hat to Mariana there. And physics was always my favorite class as in my pre-college years or college. So when you're making 800 plus horsepower, you got to be making lots of heat. And how hot does it get in the cabin with her? And how do they cool that engine? How do they keep that thing cool?
That's a great question.
They're getting that much power out of a small block Chevy.
Mm-hmm. Hi. Thanks for calling in, by the way. Yeah, so we have radiators that go on the side of our cars. Like you see on the side of the cockpit, there'll be little bows, I guess, in the way that the carbon fiber is molded on in the middle of the two wheels. And there we have these massive, huge radiators sitting in there. And so when we're going at high speeds, there's air that's just funneled and pushed right through those radiators, and that just shoves it right back into the engine and keeps things cool.
What fuel do you run, by the way?
We run racing fuel.
So racing gas, not alcohol, racing gas.
Right.
Okay.
And actually and that's what we ran last year in like a Formula Mazda, but this year we'll run methanol in my
Which would be cooler. So the fuel itself is cooler, so the engine will run a little cooler too, doing that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So got to keep it
So
cool.
here's a question I have. If I put some of that racing fuel into my 1990 Escort 4-cylinder engine, will I get better gas mileage, but have to worry about the heat, or is that probably not a good thing?
Probably won't even run.
Yeah.
Because everything has to be recalibrated, I guess I should say. For you need a lot more fuel to run that cooler fuel. Everything changes. You need more compression. All sorts of stuff has to change to run that cooler fuel.
Yeah, it's not the gasoline; it's the engine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As far as the fuel economy.
Yeah, and
the driver.
And the engine is designed for the fuel that's going to be running in it. So if you're running a methanol engine, the engine's designed for methanol. If you're running alcohol, it's designed for alcohol. If you're running pump gas, likewise.
Mm-hmm. Plus your wallet's going to be hurting after that. Like racing fuel.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it's not cheap. But I do want to send this out. Like if you're looking to cool stuff off or to maybe help your gas mileage a little bit, go NMF, which is like N as in Nancy, M as in Molly, and F as in farm per se. They actually have this coolant product that you can put inside your engine in your racing vehicles or even in your truck, everyday car, whatever, lawnmowers, and it's supposed to help you out on gas mileage. So that might be something that you should look into and go on there and buy some of their products.
All right.
Well, thank you. I look forward to having you come back on John's show sometime. I've been listening to John before it was called Drive Radio, back when he had his shop at Fort Collins. So, but
Mike,
anyway,
thank you.
I look forward to hearing you again someday.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. We'll have her back. No, we'll definitely we'll make this a routine visit whenever she's in town, and she can take a couple hours out of her day. We'll have her on, and we're going to do our best to actually get her on during the weekday show also here in the coming week. So we'll do our best to make that happen. All right, we'll take one last break in this second hour of Drive Radio. We'll be right back. We've got lines open, 303-477-5600. Drive Radio, John Rush host, KLZ 560.
Your car may have aged well, but its AM/FM setup isn't the technological wonder it used to be. So get with the times and pick up a Bluetooth car kit at Napa for $14.99. It attaches to your visor and keeps your hands free from holding your phone. That's $14.99 for a Bluetooth car kit and a way to bring your ride into the 21st century. That's Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
In a flash, from out of nowhere, your whole life can change forever. It happened so quickly, nobody saw it coming. Soon the medical bills are arriving.
Will insurance cover your injuries? Does the other driver have assets? Should I sue?
It was his fault, after all. After an accident, you need to call the law offices of Flesh Law. Flesh Law will never settle until you are fully compensated for your injuries.
Call 303-806-8886 for the Flesh Law Firm. 303-806-8886. Online, go to fleshlawfirm.com.
Flesh Law, the trial-tested, trial-ready attorneys.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
Things you should know. Your address, your phone number, your wife's birthday, where your keys are, and your credit score. What? You don't know what it is? Or are you just too afraid to say it out loud? For those of you that have pristine credit and are proud of it, good job. High five. We worked hard for that, but the rest of us might have slipped up a time or two and have bad credit, or maybe have even declared bankruptcy. Buying things like a car may be very difficult, if not impossible. But Mike Lather at Bankruptcy Autos is your friend that will get you back in the driver's seat. He will handle all the paperwork for you and even arrange financing. For those of us that are worrying about how we will ever be able to purchase a car, Mike Lather with Bankruptcy Auto is the way to go. Give him a ring at 720-266-4941, 720-266-4941, or check out bankruptcyauto.com. Tell Mike that you heard about him on Drive Radio.
Today's gasoline direct injected engine doesn't have your father's Ford injected fuel system. That's probably why you paid more to get one. The GDI's special design requires special maintenance and even carbon-free and free of cost of repair. BG Products has the most current
15 seconds.
GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops and is one more reason service managers recommend BG 3-to-1 over all others. Find a shop near you at bgfindashop.com. If you own a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters, BG. BG.
This is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. And Dan, you are my daytime co-host producer, just said, John, what is that weekday show called? Rush to Reason. That's our weekday program, 3 to 7 p.m. here on KLZ 560. I just sent all of Mayanna's information to Dan, so we'll get that figured out on when we can get you on during the week and we'll work around your schedule and make that happen. But Ray Seidel from Four Seasons is also with us. And Eric Larson from Napa Filters. Again, guys, thanks so much. We appreciate it very much. We've got calls coming in. We'll get them queued up as we speak. 303-477-5600. Russell, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, I got a 360 Rotar motor in my RV.
Okay.
With a Holly 2-barrel. And I had rebuilt the carburetor. And I'm having a hard time getting the Rich and Lane adjustment on it. You know, I don't have a vacuum meter to do it, you know, to try to tune it in that way. And I know
what's it doing as far as how's the engine running? In other words, just trying to figure out what you're exactly trying to accomplish. How's the vehicle running and so on?
It's running pretty good now. I've did a complete tune-up on it.
Okay.
But it's running. I can just smell that it's kind of running units right now, and I've just been playing with that with the set screw there to adjust the I guess it's the idle.
Right. Yeah, the idler control.
Right.
Yeah.
Idle mixture.
What year of vehicle is this? Or engine?
It's a 78.
78.
So you really, I mean, the proper way to adjust the carb, even though we used to in the old days do it with the sniff test, I guess you could say, you know, the eyes and nose test. In today's world, though, you really ought to get somebody with a 4 or 5 gas analyzer and really do it that way.
Right. Yeah, you need to,
It's like a rule of thumb that you tighten it in and then screw it out like a.
Used to. That was a starting point years ago, but you really need to adjust it with a gas analyzer so you know exactly what it's doing.
And those screws are only the idle circuit.
That's it.
They're not the power circuit or anything like that. So
those are done with
more. Yes,
that's right, with jetting and other things.
More adjustments to be made on the carburetor than just adjusting the idle screws, because the idle screws can pretty much be adjusted by RPMs. Right. You get real close with RPMs. Right. So, but you need to get, like I said, a gas analyzer to see exactly how rich or how lean it's doing. And
you do that all the way through the power spectrum, not just at idle.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I got time for a second question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I hit my key this morning and I lost all voltage. I hit my voltage meter. It has a little switch on it, and I had no volts at all. And then I went out and unhooked my battery terminals and put them back on, and then I had voltage again. Hit the key, and it did the same thing. Is that going to be
bad connection someplace? Would be my guess. You either got a bad battery cable or a bad connection somewhere in there.
You need to clean the cables rather than just taking them off, putting them back on. Or it could be a bad battery. Batteries.
That's true. It could be that too. One of the two.
Yep.
Anyways, Russell, head that direction if you would. I apologize. I got one more call to squeeze in before the top of the hour. Mike, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Oh, hey, I'd like to thank you guys for recommending that BG40.
Yep, 44K.
Injector cleaner.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, yeah. My vehicle was running horrible. I have a Toyota pickup, 2.7 liter. It was running really bad, real low power, and I put a can of that in, and basically even before I got finished with the tank of gas, it was almost like brand new.
It's good stuff. And on a Toyota, you really notice the difference for some reason. I can't tell you exactly why, but that is a vehicle that when you get them cleaned up, there's a huge difference in them.
Because they get dirty a little faster.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. Well,
incredible.
What's your other question, Mike? I apologize. We just got about a minute left is all. I'm sorry. I got to get running here.
Yeah, hey, I bought some 100 octane for my bike.
Okay.
And the Harley, and it runs incredible. I mean, it ran good before, but how come they don't make 100 octane, or higher octane?
You'd have to ask the EPA that. They used to for cars. They then finally outlawed it where you couldn't use it in an automobile anymore because the emission side of the fence is why.
Oh, the greenies.
Yep,
okay,
yep,
got
that's
it.
it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yep, he said it. He took the words right out of my mouth. That's why. So EPA shut that down. You can no longer do that. There's no longer any additives, octane boost, anything along those lines. You can do cetane boost in a diesel, but there's nothing octane boost wise on an automobile that you can do anymore on a gas engine. So thing of the past. So
and
the way it goes.
Yeah, I said octane is basically for anti-knock. So and the new cars pretty much take care of that.
All right, hour number 2 is over. Mayanna Wick, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much, John. It has.
Congratulations. You enjoy the rest of your tour here this coming weekend and the weeks ahead. Best of luck to you. Lord bless you. And have a great season. And we'll keep following you, and we'll get you back on air.
Yeah, sounds great. You
All right.
too.
Eric Larson, Napa Filters. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere because we got another full hour of Drive Radio coming your way. We'll be right back here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments, download previous programs, and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For a complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason, unmasking ISIS, defeating the terrorists who want to destroy the world. Dr. Terry Law is going to join us, and we'll talk about this very important subject. We'll have traffic and weather updates with Dan Muir. We'll take all of your calls. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour, every weekday from 3 to 7 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
You're listening to The Source in more ways than one. AM 560 KLZ Denver, KLZ HD Denver, and KLZ FM 100.7. Simulcasting on KLDC Denver and KLDC HD Denver, AM 1220, and KLDC FM 95.3. Online at 560thesource.com. USA Radio News with Joe Gomez.
A top Texas official is locking horns for the White House over the transgender bathroom issue. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick fired back today after Press Secretary Josh Earnest referred to him as a right-wing radio host who got elected to statewide office.
I was thrust into this because this past Tuesday, the Fort Worth School District, which has a direct connection to the Obama administration, they passed a similar policy, circumventing the school board, circumventing the parents, and I had to step in because the parents had no choice.
Patrick said Texas will not be blackmailed by the president's threat to withhold federal funding from states that don't comply with the order to allow transgender students to use bathrooms of their choice. U.S. military officials are keeping a close eye on reports of the Islamic terror group ISIS declaring a state of emergency. Colonel Steve Warren said they've received reports of ISIS trying to regroup in their capital city of Raqqa in Syria. This is USA Radio News.
Hello, I'm Eric, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Ahn on progressivism's appeal and danger.
Progressivism has been powerful for two kinds of reasons. First of all, its promise is a very high promise. It claims that it can put everything right. And the second thing is, it draws on modern science for a lot of its authority. Modern science is very powerful. Modern science cured polio. Modern science put a man on the moon. The question is, what do you do with the power? If you give absolute power or excessive power to a bunch of people, over time, they're very likely to abuse it. Remember, the richest country in the history of man in peacetime has assembled a debt larger than any in history. And it is getting to the place now where it's not going to be able to afford to go on.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image is what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.
If he needs to run to the restroom, I can turn off his mic.
Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
All right, this is the third hour of Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Eric from Napa Filters is with us. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons is with us. We let Mayanna go to her next event. Guys, it's always encouraging, and I've had multiple of these on here recently on my other show during the day, but it's really fun to have really good, solid young people that you because sometimes us old guys, we look at the next generation and we think, are we going to survive or not?
Yeah, you kind of shake your head a little bit.
And then you have somebody like her come along and you think, we'll be okay.
Yes.
We get more of her out here on the streets and you know what? We'll be okay, right? Am I saying that the right way?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I said it to be, she has it going.
She does. She's got a lot going for a 19-year-old.
19-year-old, yep. She had her goals set and she was very good at what she's doing.
Yep, and she's gonna do well. She'll do fine. So you'll continue to see her name. I am confident of that. We'll keep watching her, and just remember on down the road that you heard her on Drive Radio. It's the best way for me to say that. So again, lines are open. Call us. We've got an hour left of the show. We'll answer any questions that you've got. It doesn't matter what it is. Comments, questions, you name it. We'll talk about it. 303-477-5600. I believe Aaron Case from Phoenix Weaponry may be joining us a little bit later this hour, towards the top of the hour. And he's a guy that's got a machine shop up north, does a lot of stuff, custom gunsmithing, but will also do custom manufacturing of literally, you got a part you don't know where to buy and it just needs to be remade. He'll do it. Just take it into him and say, I need one of these, and he'll just remake it for you. And you know what? In this day and age, especially on some of the stuff we work on, guys, that's really handy to have.
That's nice to have that.
It really is. So we've got that resource inside of Drive Radio. By the way, find all of our sponsors. Go to drive-radio.com. Ask us questions. Send us emails, any comments, anything you need. It's all right there. All of our member shops are listed under the member shop tab. All of our sponsors are on the homepage, and we have a bunch of them. A lot to just mention, so I won't do them all right now. Just go to the website. But some of our big names are, of course, Napa Auto Parts, and we appreciate the support they give us on a very weekly basis. And again, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. They've got so many different things they've got going on. If you haven't been into a Napa parts store recently, you know what? They sell everything, not just auto parts. Am I right on that, Eric?
Yes, you are.
I mean, literally everything. Tools, filters, belts, hoses, hard parts, oil, fluids, lifts for the garage. I mean, anything you want to buy. In fact, it's gotten to the point, Ray, that, you and I, as shop owners, you don't hardly have to go anywhere else, do you?
No, you don't. They pretty much have
it. Really has everything, and it's like one-stop shopping all underneath one roof.
Exactly.
So if you want to buy the best, and my point on this is, if you want to buy the best, buy from Napa Auto Parts, and they'll take care of you. And that includes Napa and their filters, and we have talked so highly of Napa filters for so long.
I have just got I don't know if something ever happened and we didn't have Napa anymore, I don't know what I'd do, because that's the filter of choice for us. That's all we use. It's been that way, Eric, for 20 plus years for me.
Yeah. And, a lot of the times what it is we put on our cars what we grew up with.
That's exactly right.
Because our fathers, our brothers taught us how to put on our oil filters. And part of what situation you have is I went through high school, automotive shop. We learned about oiling systems. Went to University of Southern Colorado through the mechanic program. Learn about oiling systems, but you never learn about filtration.
That's a good point.
You don't cut them open. They all look the same. You spin them on, you spin them off. Let's go down the road.
That's a good point.
When you cut it open, there's a huge difference. And
it really is. And you guys have in a lot of the stores have the cutaways where you can see the difference in the filters right there, right?
Yes, we do. And last week I spent all week in Scotts Bluff doing all the high schools. I did the junior college and just went around and talked to filters.
Awesome.
Cut them open. Here's the differences.
Awesome. That's very cool. Good for you. Good for you.
Because kids, the few that we are getting back into the business, I definitely want them to make their own choice of what
That's right. Use. That's a great way to say it. Dennis is next. Drive Radio. What's going on, Dennis?
Hey, John. Glad to see that you have somebody there from Napa. As you know, I've got a diesel, and Napa doesn't offer diesel coolant test strips in small packs. And I wanted to see if that was something along Eric's lines or how we could get that changed. Because for what I've seen in the store, the smallest you can buy is about 50, and the shelf life is only good for about a year.
Yeah, so a homeowner only needs like 4 or 5 of them at most.
Absolutely, and they don't offer anything close to that. I want to see if that's something that Napa can change.
Yes, we have packs of 4. Are you running green? What flavor of antifreeze are you running?
The original, it's a 97 Ford F-250.
Okay, so that should still be the traditional green?
Traditional green,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be it.
Then I do have that, yes. I'm looking for the part number right now. You're correct. We offer those in 50s, but we also offer them in packs of 4s, I believe. You do need to watch your date codes, though. These are actually foiled packed, so you don't. The contamination rate is. Let's see.
You're fine. Take your time. We got time. You're fine.
The number I'm looking, it's a 4105.
Okay.
But that says 48 test strips, 12 packs of 4. That's more for the store. Then the store can break that out as one package of 4 test strips.
Okay.
So you can buy those in the smaller quantities. Just ask your store to get that 4105, and then he'll have to sell them individual or in those packages of 4.
Okay, because I've done that more than once, and they're not willing to do that. They think that's a single unit number.
What store are you going to, Dennis? Better yet, here, I got a better idea. Go visit Ray over in Lakewood, which you already know Ray is not far from you, and I guarantee you Ray can figure out how to get you 4 of those.
Well, and I was into Larry's recently getting some fluid changed, and he was kind enough to get some and give me a handful. And I appreciate that, Larry.
Yeah, I guarantee you there's ways we can make sure that we can. But you've got a great point. We should make those available to anybody else out there just by walking in the store.
That's something that we need to take to the warehouse. I mean, they have 16, 20, stores in the Denver area, plus I don't know how many jobbers and stuff. So they basically need to break those out so you can actually stock a few of those so they can sell them. I mean, so yeah, we'll need to go to the DC on that one.
The other issue that we kind of got, and it's more of my fault, is that when you go in and ask the counter folks, they don't think of Napa filters having the test strip. They're going to think of Prestone or something like that. So that's more where I need to educate our counter people that this product is in Napa filters line under the FIL code.
There you go.
So one thing that we are running into with test strips is because we have so many, we have such a magnitude of colors nowadays that we have to be careful because some colors of the antifreeze will distort the outcome of the test strip. So you being conventional green, my test strips are going to work with you. Some of these new pinks and reds distort the color of the test strip.
Right.
Got it.
So yeah.
But we can fulfill your needs, and I'll tell you what, if you want to go up and get them from Ray at Four Seasons, I'll make sure he puts them in there with his new Napa filter cabinet.
And I'm sure I'm not the first DIY guy that's come into Napa.
No,
Napa
you're
and try
not.
to buy
I guarantee
a
you that's the
handful of
case.
test strips.
Yes, that's my exact point. I mean, they have them in packs of 48. Why don't they have 2 or 3 of these 4-packs in all their
They
stores?
should.
It's kind of like selling Plastigate. You buy a box of 25, but you only
You only
sell
need
the
one strip. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I mean, that's something that
That's a great point.
We just need to get them broke.
Well,
up
no,
so we
well,
can do it.
Dennis, we appreciate it. We'll definitely head along those lines. Did you have a comment also on some of the racing facilities?
Yeah, kind of to back up Eric's point, the only way I see a facility making it here, especially with a NASCAR track, is to use the Las Vegas model, and that being having a world-class dirt sprint car track, a drag strip, a world-class motocross facility, and a
Combine all in
world-class...
one, in other words. Take everything we've got, put it all in one facility.
Absolutely. And to do that, that's going to ruffle the traditional feathers around here.
Yes, it would.
But either they can get together or they can go out of business when this facility is eventually built.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that you'd have to sit down and figure out is there enough, keep in mind, this is something to throw out at you and Eric and others, is the traditional facilities that exist, are there bought, paid for, much less overhead to run than if you went out and built a Taj Mahal, let's say. So you'd have to make sure if you build the Taj Mahal that there still is enough business with all of those other things combined to still make it work. Is there? According to some of the data and some of the things that I've read, they claim there is. But again, I have not seen those numbers personally myself to verify that.
Yeah, they just have to, figure out the business model and, maybe even be able to rent the facility out, much like Invesco Field, where they're doing concerts and other venues.
Yeah, you would have to make sure that the thing is as multifunctional as possible, because you'd want to have something going on there 365 days a year if possible, because otherwise you're not going to be able to pay it back. Because in this world here, you cannot make the payments and make that thing pay back on a mid-May to mid-September time frame. Not going to happen.
Right, and don't make the mistake that PPIR did with their highway access. That is an absolute joke.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this discussion comes up every single summer, and you have to wonder at what point, Dennis, do we get big enough as a metro area that we could actually then support that? Is that day in our future? I would hope so. It'd sure be fun to see it as a gearhead guy, somebody that loves cars. I would love to see that. But again, in defense of these guys, they're not going to do it till they know they can get paid back.
Well, and, I know the last attempt, if I remember correctly, Roger Penske came in and looked at it.
Said no.
And got slapped in the face by the city of Aurora, who voted it down. How many times are these guys going to come back after they get slapped?
Well, and here's the deal, too, with a guy like Penske. Unless he saw real solid, profitable dollars there, Penske's a guy that has enough money, he could fight Aurora. He can fight City Hall if he wants to, if he feels like there's enough revenue potential there to do it. And my gut feeling is he probably said, if this is an easy slam dunk sort of a thing, we can get in there, we can do it fairly inexpensively, we can make it all happen, great. But if we have to start fighting City Hall and go down that path, there's not enough money in it to make it worthwhile, and that's probably why he pulled out.
Well, not only that, but why fight City Hall?
Well,
they
you
don't want
have,
to.
when you're in his world and you don't have to. But again, here's the thing: guys will fight City Hall if there's enough revenue potential. If dollars and cents are there, they'll still fight City Hall. Developers do it every single day of the week if there's enough return on investment. My point is, I'm not sure there is yet.
Okay. Very well.
That's all I'm saying. So appreciate it, Dennis, very much. Not arguing with anybody. I'm just saying, guys, I don't think there is, because if there was, I think you'd see guys like Roger Penske come along and actually build it and make it happen. Kurt, hang tight. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. Drive Radio's coming back right after this, right here on KLZ 560.
When there's no place to charge your dead phone, withdrawals start. Withdrawals from tweeting, checking email, and watching how-to videos. So keep it charged with a portable power supply for $14.99 in Napa. For $14.99, this portable power supply charges any USB-powered device. preventing you from living in a world where you can't post selfies of you with your truck. That's Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
When you've been in a fender bender or accident, you need to get your car repaired quickly by top-notch experts that know your car. Don't mess around with the cumbersome national auto body chains where you have no idea as to who is working on your car. Denver Collision Experts is a locally owned auto collision repair facility that will give you that personal touch you deserve. They'll help you in dealing with your insurance company and get you back on the road quickly without skimping on quality. Denver Collision Experts are Denver's experts in auto body repair. Call Denver Collision Experts today at 303-761-0955, 303-761-0955. Check them out at denvercollision.com. Be sure to tell them Drive Radio sent you.
At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. And because we know that your pet will have many different needs throughout its life, we offer complete pet care services. Whether your furry friend needs a checkup, vaccinations, boarding, grooming, obedience training, we are here for your pet 7 days a week. At Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, we know that you want the very best for your pet, which is why you can count on us for the latest in technology and methods in everything we do. We are certified with the highest rankings by the American Animal Hospital Association and hold a gold star rating with the Better Business Bureau. You and your pet can visit us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. Learn more about us by visiting our website at LoneTreeVet.com or give us a call at 303-708-8050. We believe that all pets deserve to have a good life.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we take the way your vehicle stops very seriously. Grinding, groaning, squeaking, fading brake pedal are all signs of worn out brakes. Did you know there are over 50 steps to a perfect brake job? And our master technicians perform them all. Plus, we back it up with a Napa Peace of Mind warranty. So if you're thinking brakes, think Napa and Arvada West Auto and Truck. 11752 West 64th Avenue, just west of Sims. 303-422-1065.
All right, Drive Radio, John Rush, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons, Eric Larson from Napa Filters, and Kurt is joining us from Erie. Kurt, welcome.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I enjoy your show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I have a question. I've got a 05 Passat, and got about 160,000 miles on it. And 30,000 miles ago, I changed the front axle CV joints.
Okay.
And now, because I had a clicking noise, and at that many miles, I just changed them both, didn't bother. But now I'm getting a clicking when I make a right turn. And I was wondering, is there a rule of thumb on which side that would cause that?
Which side is the noise coming from, or can you tell?
No, I think it's coming from the left, but I didn't. It's kind of hard to tell. I didn't know if
easy way to
right
tell.
turn.
No, there's no common whether it be the right side or left side. Easy way to tell is roll the windows down. Go to a parking lot. Typically at a school works the best. Go to a weekend parking lot where there's nobody there. Kids are gone. Typically you can get up close to a building that way, so you can get the deflection, the sound deflection back off the building itself. And you can typically, by driving on the right side or the left side, cranking it hard, right or left, get that noise to click and tell whether it's coming off the right or the left side.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to find out.
Yeah. Those other ones, the original ones lasted like 130,000 miles.
Yeah, so did you put complete half shafts, or did you do half shafts, or did you just do the CVs?
Well,
I did the whole thing, the whole half shaft.
And there's not a warranty on those?
Well,
30,000 miles is probably out. I'm not sure what year it was. I did
It depends on who you bought them from.
Yes. I mean, because Napa has remanufactured with the year warranty. They have the new with a lifetime.
With lifetimes, exactly.
So if, especially if these only lasted 30,000, I would probably try to find a new one from Napa.
Yeah, do the new lifetime warranty ones, and you won't have, theoretically wouldn't have a problem again.
Yeah, I got these. There's a dry shaft place down in Highlands there, I think it is.
Which means they probably weren't new. They were a rebuilt shaft.
Yeah, they're rebuilt.
Yeah, rebuilt shaft.
They're worth a call them. Because said they should go longer than 30,000 miles. If they're they've been there for a while, they might stand behind them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give that a. I don't really want to do them both again if I don't have to.
Well, but here's the deal: if one's bad and they'll warranty them, do them both at the same time and freshen them up if they'll do it.
And then said, on a really hard turn, like a hard right turn, if that's when it's clicking, usually there's more force on the inside joint than the outside one.
Exactly.
But again, you can't be 100%.
No, and you really have to be able to listen to try to tell. And if you're doing half shafts, it's going to be a complete half shaft anyways.
Right,
and to Ray's point, if they'll warranty one and they'll do both of them, even though it's a pain to change them both out, get them both done.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give that a try then.
Okay.
Thanks for your help,
Kurt. And that just kind of goes back to sort of like oil filters. You get what you pay for, guys. Not saying he did it wrong, but you get what you pay for.
I mean,
because what's the difference, Ray, in the price from the a reman shaft from Napa versus a new shaft?
$15 to $20.
So for $40, even if it had been $50, you'd have had two new shafts with lifetime warranty.
Now, and that's the problem with people shopping price. Somebody, if they go looking for price, they're going to get that remanufactured axle with a 1-year warranty. Where if you spend the extra,
Okay, so devil's advocate. Why, I guess, and I know the answer to this, but devil's advocate. Why then would Napa even stock the cheap one in the first place? Why don't they just sell me what I need right up front, Ray?
Yeah, you're a hot button here. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree.
And I know why. I mean, I know the answer. The answer is because there are individuals out there that maybe have a car that's getting towards the end of its lifespan. Somebody really is price conscious. They've got to compete with everybody else out there that's selling that cheaper priced part. But you still got to look at what the warranty is and what are you getting for what you're paying for.
But now, if you look at the big picture as far as business, what does it cost them to keep that second part on the shelf? They could actually put one part on, have a better warranty, drop the price. They wouldn't be quite as cheap, but they would still have a better product.
Yeah, but that's not how Wall Street works.
That's not how Wall Street works. And I have a big problem with that. I mean, as far as
you and I both,
because I run my business.
Yeah, but you're not a publicly traded company, yes. And we never will be.
We never will be.
No, because you and I both don't want somebody telling us what to do.
Well, because we're not going to make that last extra dime that everybody else needs.
No,
to
you and I are going to do business the way we've always done business for the past 30 plus years, and that's take care of the customer first.
Take care of the customer and make sure that they get the best value possible.
And by the way, this is not a knock against Napa or any other publicly traded company. Just realize you're talking about a publicly traded company that has lots of shareholders to answer to.
And lots of people that have lots of different ideas.
Yes. That's exactly right. And again, in defense of Napa, there are those individuals out there that can only afford so much for that axle shaft. And you know what? $30 cheaper may be all they can afford. And in that case, they're meeting a demand.
But what is their time worth? I pick up 2 shafts. I go home. I go back, stab them in. I got a whole day.
A guy that's just flipping that car and selling it, it doesn't matter anyways.
That's true. That's true.
And remember, there's those guys out there also buying that part. Which also means as a buyer on the other side, when you're buying cars, buyer beware. Even though a guy says, well, I just put half shafts in this car. Okay, give me the receipt. I want to know what you put in. Right. Did you put the cheapest thing you could possibly find off of who knows whose shelf? Or did you put top of the line lifetime warranty half shafts in this? Right. Okay, get where I'm going with this, guys?
Yeah, I know. I said there's a market for that type of product.
There is. And there's buyers for that product, is my point.
And there again, that's why we have 4 different levels of oil filters.
Yeah, I would have never thought. I mean, years ago, there were 2 levels.
2.
There was silver and gold.
That was it.
Now there's 4.
Silver, gold, platinum, and Pro Select.
Okay, so let's real quick. We've got a couple of minutes here before our next break. Go through the difference between each one of those, even on the Napa side.
Okay, we'll start with Pro Select.
Okay.
That is meant for our repair facilities. such as Four Seasons, if they elect to choose to use that filter. That is a traditional 3,000 3-month oil filter.
Okay, so that's your bottom of the line filter is what you're saying.
That is my entry level filter.
Okay,
That is correct.
So I doubt very seriously, I hope I'm not stepping on toes when I say this, but I doubt if you're going to go to any Colorado Select facility and see a Pro Select get installed.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
You will see?
Yes.
Well, it depends on the car probably, right?
Depends on the car, but
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because some cars, you need a 3-month, 3,000-mile oil change.
Yes.
Right.
And in that case, no big deal.
Well, and in my way of thinking, going back to putting the lifetime axle in, Colorado Select facility should not put a Pro Select filter in. It should be a silver filter.
Correct.
Not a Pro
Okay, so what's the difference between a Pro Select and a silver?
The difference will be 10% more media,
Okay.
which equates to about 9 pleats.
Okay.
Spiraled seam center tube. So we get a little bit more strength there. We go
Okay.
from that 75 PSI differential.
Longevity on a silver filter.
Same.
Okay.
It's
So
just
you
got-
want to do 3-month, 3,000 miles.
That is correct. You
Okay.
just get a better.
So you
center-
start looking at some of the older vehicles that still require a 3-month, 3,000-mile oil change. That's using a Pro Select or a silver, not a big deal.
Right.
Correct.
So basically 98 and older.
You could use those
You
filters
could
and no
use those
problem.
filters, but-
Okay. Okay.
So
Makes
then-
sense.
So then you move into my Napa Gold.
Which when I was doing it, that's all we stocked. But
That
that's
is for OE recommended oil changes.
okay.
That filter, and it's right on the box. Whatever your OE
So
recommendation,
if the OE says it'll go 7,000 miles on an oil change, that gold filter will do that.
that is what it's meant for.
Okay.
And that is also meant for conventional or synthetic.
Okay.
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 Then we have our platinum. That
Which is top of the line.
Top of the line.
Top of the line.
right. And the difference there is going to be the media, fully synthetic, wire backed.
Okay.
Plus it has a different base gasket because we know it's going to be on the car a longer period of time.
Okay.
And that is usually meant for full synthetic.
Okay. So some of the cars out there saying, this vehicle will go 10,000 miles between oil changes, run full synthetic.
And it's
You're going to want to run a platinum filter.
correct. And it says on there OE oil changes, OE change intervals with synthetic.
Okay.
Now, in my case, I have a 2000 Dodge Dakota that Ray's worked on plenty of times.
Okay.
I run a platinum filter on that with conventional oil. And the reason is because that's one of those known sludge monster engines that holds it up into the top of the heads. And I want to make sure I've got the best protection on the bottom end, but I don't want to use the full synthetic. And I change it every 3,000 miles.
Okay.
So that's how I use the platinum filter.
Got it. Yeah, and I'm a big platinum fan, frankly, guys. To me, there's not enough difference in the price. And if you look at what an engine costs you for the difference between a gold to a platinum, the little bit that's there, I run a platinum. It's just me personally.
And let's move. If we may, I'd like to just touch on one area on air filters.
Okay, hold tight. Let's do this. We got a break coming up. This is a great segue. Hang tight. We'll talk about air filters just as soon as we come back. We got lines open. We'll take your calls. 30 minutes left of Drive Radio. 303-477-5600. We'll be right back here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Ken's and Leslie Distributing, your local BG products distributor. Back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. As spring rolls into full swing and the summer is just before us, many of us look to set off on our summer road trips. Many of these road trips can be as many as 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 miles, which means you better make sure that your car is in proper working condition before you set off for the road. So here are a few tips to help you get going. First and foremost, check your tire pressure. A proper tire inflation ensures the safety of your vehicle and can affect your fuel economy on your road trip by as much as 15%. Additionally, while you're on your road trip, you want to make sure you select your fuel stops appropriately. You can visit the website www.toptiergas.com to find the best fuel retailers where you're going. It's important to get the top tier fuels to protect for deposit control and ensure that you don't get any bad fuel on your trip. And of course, before you leave for your trip, check and top off all of your fluids. Don't forget the oil, the brake, the power steering, the coolant, and any other fluids specific to your vehicle. And last but not least, before setting off on a road trip is a perfect time to add a fuel system cleaner like the BG 44K to your fuel system. It'll give you the best cleanup possible as your car goes out on the road and ensure that you're getting the best fuel economy for that summer road trip. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
The new gasoline direct injection engines, also known as GDI, are the hottest new improvement to horsepower and fuel efficiency in this century. Service professionals agree that GDI's unique power requires unique GDI maintenance. BG Products has the most current and effective GDI maintenance available in over 20,000 shops, and they back it up in a lifetime BG protection plan. Go to bgfindershop.com. That's bgfindershop.com. If you have a GDI engine and you want it to last, remember 2 more letters. BG.
We know what it's like, trying to find an auto mechanic that you can trust. As a consumer, you feel helpless. A friend recommends a shop. You try them out, they seem okay for a while, but see how they react when they miss something. Mistakes happen, but it's what they do next that is very telling. Colorado Select is a group of like-minded independent shop owners who should be competitors, but are instead so driven to provide the best possible customer experience possible. They all work together to make sure that you, the customer, is always super served with the best service and the best auto repair in the industry. Every Colorado Select Car Care Center is owned by an ASE certified master technician, and every Colorado Select member offers a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. If they ever miss on a repair, they promise to make it right without any hassle. Get to know the Colorado Select Car Care Center nearest you. Find one at coloradoselect.org.
Some people steer clear of store brands, but Napa Conventional Motor Oil for $2.19 a quart is more than a store brand. It has the Napa logo on it, a logo that represents quality and knowledge, the same logo on the store and that guy's shirt. So pick up Napa Conventional Motor Oil for $2.19 a quart, only available at, you guessed it, Napa. That's Napa know-how. Federal states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, and recycling fees. Offer expires 5/31/16.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sports from Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Life is full of enjoyable moments, such as getting a root canal, paying taxes, your kids playing their recorder, dinner with the in-laws, and buying a car. I'm just messing with you. Those things are absolutely horrible. But with the help of Mike Lather and JFR and Associates, they might actually make purchasing a new vehicle, well, enjoyable. Tell them what you're looking for, and they'll set out and find what fits your parameters, handle the negotiating, gather history reports, and even arrange financing. Before you know it, you're behind the wheel of your new car. Take hunting for a new vehicle off of your to-do list and give it to Mike Lather with JFR and Associates. Give him a ring at 720-266-4941, 720-266-4941. Tell Mike that you heard about him on Drive Radio and get back to enjoying your kids' wonderful impromptu recorder concert.
This is ASE Automotive Professional Pam Oaks, letting you know it's time for summer vacation travel, and I want you to be safe on the road this season. Stuff happens. Coolant systems overheat. Batteries die. Here at Car Care for the Clueless, we've got your back. Today's travel box tip, a first aid kit. Blisters from wearing the wrong shoes? Or did you catch yourself on a sharp object and cut your finger pretty good? Why do a search and rescue
15 seconds, guys.
drugstore? Band-Aids, antiseptic, sunburn spray. Items you already have in the medicine cabinet can be within reach within seconds. Keeping you on the road this summer with CarCareForTheClueless.com, making you a savvy car consumer.
Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Eric Larson from Napa Filters. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons. Daryl from Brighton is joining us now. Daryl, welcome. What's going on, sir?
I got a question regarding oil filters.
Yes, sir.
The vehicle calls for, I don't know what the number is, but it's a 02 Impala with a 3.8 engine.
Okay.
I put a 1036 Gold in there.
Okay.
Because it's almost twice the size. And I've been doing that for the past 100 and
So you
some
put the longer
miles.
canister in it, is what you're saying.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
It fits, no obstructions, shouldn't be any problem, right?
No problem. There's a lot of those back in the day. We used to do that way where you could, the old AC filters used to be a PF 25 or 35. You could put a 35 in it and it would fit. You'd run a 35 instead of a 25.
Yeah, and some of the applications, they wouldn't. The longer filter wouldn't fit in, so that's why they made the shorter ones.
And one was for 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, and in some cases too, Daryl, and you know this as well as I. Sometimes the factories went with a shorter filter just because they could save 30 cents a filter over 1 million cars, and that's why they did it.
I've done it the past 3 GMs I've had, not many problems.
Yeah, no, you won't have any issues. That's actually a good way to do it. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
One quick question on brake fluid.
Yes.
Mixing synthetic with standard.
That's a no-no.
Yeah. Nope.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You got to flush and then put synthetic in, or continue to run your regular organic type fluid.
Yeah, it's
you don't want to mix them.
Right, and a vehicle is designed for your 3-dot. Stay with the 3-dot. The 4-dot is a special fluid. For
Seals are
special cars.
different inside. Everything is different on
you
the
can run
system.
into problems putting the synthetic in a 3-dot system,
right?
A regular system.
If that's been done, what could be the results?
Flush it out and put the good stuff, put the right stuff in it. Pronto.
Yeah, just get it out of there and just flush it. It should be all right.
I wouldn't let it go very long. Get it out of there as quick as you can.
Right.
Quick on the Monroe shocks, bought through one of the shops there, warranty, lifetime.
Yes.
How do I handle that if I want to put them back on myself instead of taking it back to the shop?
You take the receipt in for the shocks that you actually bought through a service center. So whether it's a Color Select facility or not, if you bought shocks from any facility at all, that Monroe part number should be on that receipt that you bought them on. You take that back in, it still proves for your lifetime warranty. I used to do it all the time. So back when I was selling, a lot of Rancho shocks, which are again a Tenneco Monroe company. As long as I had the original receipt from when the person bought it, whether it was from me or somebody else in the middle of nowhere, as long as I had that to prove a purchase, I warrantied it, and off they went.
Okay.
Yep.
Got a quick question. I'm breaking in front pads on new rotors and pads.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way to do it?
Anymore, there's not as much braking as there used to be, but the old way of doing that is you'd get the car up to speed, slow it down as quickly as you could. So you'd get it up to 35, 40 miles an hour, slow it down as quickly as you could. You do that 3 or 4 times and break them in. But anymore, that's a thing of the past. You really don't need to do it.
But you got to be careful a little bit on some of the high performance ones. But normally, what we do is at our shop is we take and do a 20 heat cycles, what we call them, to where you drive the car under normal braking, no emergency braking, get them warm, and then shut the vehicle off, let it set for 15, 20 minutes, then go ahead and do another one. So you want to bring it up to temperature, then cool all the way down, for 4 or 5 cycles or something like that.
But honestly, as a fleet shop owner, having lots of different trucks we put on the road and so on, you can do all of that, and it's not a bad idea to do it. But do you have to? No, they'll still work fine.
Yeah, and what you want to don't do is go out and get into that emergency stop where you slam on them and lock up the wheels, skip them. That's what you don't want to do.
Exactly. You put them on and go do normal driving, you'll be fine.
Stay out of the mountains.
Yep, stay out of the mountains. Exactly. No, yeah, you don't want to go up I-70 first run out with new brakes.
Right.
Other than that, you're in good shape. All right, Daryl? I think we lost Daryl. Let's go to Shane, who's up next. Shane, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Hey, John. How's it going today?
Doing great. Thanks for calling.
Me and my dad were in here listening, and I was wondering what is the equivalent to a K&N as far as Napa goes.
As far as air or oil?
Oil.
As far as oil goes, their platinum filter exceeds what K&N has on theirs. And again, K&N was a great sponsor of ours for years and years and years. I don't want to say anything bad about them at all. They just decided to go a different direction when it came to radio advertising. They cut all radio ads out across the board, coast to coast. It was not a drive radio thing. It was just something they decided to do from the top down. So it's still a great company, but they will tell you right now that, in fact, there for a while, some of their oil filters, they were even struggling to get actually manufactured and made correctly, but the Napa Platinum filter is a step above the K&N filter. Only thing you get from the K&N, real quick, the only thing you get from K&N is that filter wrench, that being able to use a wrench on the top of the filter on the can itself. That's the only advantage that K&N has.
So is it like the equivalent of a Napa Gold, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that's more equivalent. Now K&N also does have their really, really high-end filter that's a cleanable media filter. Totally different. We're not talking about that. That's a totally different animal than what we're talking about with the regular canister filter, the regular can filter, I mean.
And the other thing with K&N is that they say their can won't separate from their base plate for 550 PSI. Your Napa Gold is going to be about 300 PSI.
Got it.
So if you're running this on a race car,
that's where it comes in.
What you would need is my Wix Racing filter, because that is rated at 550 PSI before it'll separate from the can from the base plate. The other thing is there's a few components in the Napa filter that's going to be different than the K&N, which if you straight seam center tubes and leaf
exactly.
springs.
So if this is a regular daily driver production vehicle and so on, your platinum filter will do everything and above what you need.
Exactly.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, Shane, appreciate it. And that's what I run on my vehicle. So just a disclaimer there. I mean, all my old cars, new cars, you name it, I run the platinum filter. In the fleet, I run golds just because we're changing oil a little more often anyway. So we run gold filters on those. I don't run any silver or Pro Select filters at all in the fleet. That's just how I do it. So let's take a quick break. We've got one more segment coming back. Russ, hang tight. Buck and Cheyenne, both guys from Cheyenne. Buck and Russ, maybe your neighbors. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
We know what it's like, trying to find an auto mechanic that you can trust.
Say that again?
As a consumer, you feel helpless. A friend recommends a shop. You try them out. They seem okay for a while, but see how they react when they miss something.
No, Scott just got here and I was trying to see. I'll go look real quick.
Next, that is very telling. Colorado Select is a group of like-minded
Larry's
independent
okay.
shop
And I had
owners
just wanted
who
to
should
check
be
because I knew we had a
competitors,
break coming, so
but
I
are
thought maybe you wanted to do
instead so driven
okay.
to provide the
I'll go
best
look for
possible
Aaron.
customer experience possible. They all work together to make sure that you, the customer, is always super served with the best service and the best auto repair in the industry. Every Colorado Select Car Care Center is owned by an ASE certified master technician, and every Colorado Select member offers a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. If they ever miss on a repair, they promise to make it right without any hassle. Get to know the Colorado Select Car Care Center nearest you. Find one at coloradoselect.org.
Hey, Northern Colorado, the sisters from Community Auto here. Just letting you know we got your back. We have a happy family here at Community Auto and would love for you to be a part. We've come a long way since opening shop more than 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. As Small Business of the Year 2015, featured in Parts and People and among the top shops in Colorado, we'd like to thank you for trusting us with your vehicle. With our new customer loyalty program, you can earn rewards dollars and free services like oil changes and transmission flushes. Like us a lot? Refer a friend, and we'll give you $50. It's that easy. Auto repair doesn't have to be painful. Actually, with us, it's pretty fun. We know that a happy car will get you far, so we'll fix and maintain yours with a smile. We're fun, fresh, and good at what we do. Call us today or visit us at communityautoinc.com. We'd love to meet you.
In a flash, from out of nowhere, your
I
whole
need him to adjust his volume. He's on number 4.
Quickly, nobody
Huh?
saw it coming. Soon the medical bills are arriving.
Will insurance cover your injuries?
My bad, I had the key down. Because I could hear you, I just couldn't hear him. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're good. Sorry about
This is a Flesh Law. Flesh Law
I'm used to you and the talking, so sorry, John.
your injuries.
Call 303-806-8
And the loud talking, so.
for the Flesh Law Firm. 303-806-8886. Online, go to fleshlawfirm.com.
Flesh Law, the trial-tested, trial-ready attorneys.
Seatbelts, airbags, onboard radar, laser, and camera systems. The vehicle safety technology available on today's cars and trucks is impressive, but none of it will keep you safe if you're driving on worn-out brakes. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker is a brake repair specialist. There are many reasons for noisy brakes, and most of them are simple fixes, but there's always the chance that something dangerous is going on. Take your car to Extreme Auto Repair of Parker, and their ASE certified master techs will be happy to take a look, just to be on the safe side. Extreme Auto Repair is huge, with 20 service bays, so they always have room for you, especially if you tell them you're a KLZ listener. Extreme Auto Repair of Parker. Call ahead for even faster service, 303-841-1071. 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair. Going to the extreme for 17 years.
Know-how! When you pick up an Evercraft 26-piece screwdriver set for $19.99 at Napa, you're not just getting 26 beautiful chrome-plated instruments. You're getting something that shows the world if there's a problem, you've got 26 ways to tackle it. That's $19.99 for a 26-piece screwdriver set and 26 ways to show you're the man for any job that requires screwdrivers. That's Napa Know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/16.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead.
10 seconds, guys.
Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons, Eric Larson from Napa Filters, and Aaron Case from Phoenix Weaponry just joined us. We'll get some calls going here real quick, and we'll get this last segment finished up because we're about out of time. Buck and Cheyenne, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Yes, got an 09 Ford F-250 5.4.
Okay.
And I have changed the motor in that changes the defrost to heat, and I can get plenty of heat out of it on the floor or through the dash, but I can't seem to get enough heat up through the defroster. Is there a joint or something in the middle there behind the dash?
Well, the blend door, which adjusts all that.
Yeah, the blend door is adjusted, and I put a new motor on it. All of that works fine, but it seems like I can't get enough air up on the windshield to do a good job.
You think you might have some blockage or anything in the ductwork itself, or have you looked?
Well, as much as I can see, I haven't got behind the dash yet.
I think I would. Because if the blend door is working properly and you've got all that going on, you can even take an air hose and shoot in there and see what kind of if you got any blockage or if the air is flowing or anything along those lines. But if the blend door is working, you should have air coming out.
Yeah. There might be another blend door too. I'm not sure about them with 09.
I don't remember. I don't know. I need it.
Aren't they hiding those underneath the cowl and
only
facing the front too?
It only shows one.
It only shows at least one motor for it. So.
All right. Well, the blend door is working. You should have air coming out. If not, you got blockage someplace.
And sometimes the actual door can break.
That's right. Where the motor will be working, but the door's still not moving.
Correct. Yeah, the door, it doesn't close or open all the way.
That's right. And by the way, on a Ford, pretty common.
Yes. We replaced a lot of them.
Yep.
of the blend door.
Yeah,
Door
Okay.
itself.
Door
In other words, the
inside the
motor's
box.
working, but the door is not moving.
Yes. Or it's broken.
Okay,
or it's-
I know the door's moving some.
Yeah, but it just may not be moving enough to get all that air to go like it should.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You bet. Appreciate that, Buck. Russ, you're next. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good.
Actually, with that blend door issue, I had the same thing with AC. I thought my AC wasn't working. I just turned the blend door was
That's
warm and was kicking and not turning the heat off.
Yep.
So, I had a question on the filters.
Yes.
Since you got your filter guy there. Do they make a add-on filter you can add for your transmission?
No. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yes, there's aftermarket companies that make filtration systems that you can go in line on the cooler, and you can do that. Yes.
Put a remote base on and
Yes.
put a spin on.
Yes.
Yeah, is it worth doing on the modern transmissions? That was my next question.
Depends on which transmission.
Okay. I just like my truck, I've got the Allison transmission. It's got the spin on.
It's already got one on it. Yep.
It's nice because you can just spin it off, change it once a year, and
But you still have one on the inside the pan on that one too. So that's not the only filter on that transmission.
Yeah, typically, if a guy's doing a lot of hauling, you're going to be changing filters often or fluid often, then the spin-on filter is a nice deal. For the average everyday Joe, it's a waste of money.
Okay.
All right, Russ. Appreciate the phone call very much. Let's go to Randy, who's next. Randy, you're our last caller today. What's going on?
I got a quick question about MassInfo sensors. Is it really worth it to try and clean them up, or should you just replace them?
It's worth cleaning them if they're cleanable. Yes.
Okay, and what is the best product to use for that?
Napa actually makes a MAF cleaner that you need to use, and if you use any other cleaner than a MAF approved cleaner, you're going to ruin it. So you've got to use a cleaner that is MAF approved.
Okay, and should you touch those in any way, or
No.
just literally spray the liquid on them?
Spray the liquid on them.
Yeah,
Don't use anything else on them.
And just let them dry.
Yep, that's exactly right. Don't blow dry them. Don't blow on them. Don't do any of those things at all. Just use the cleaner, and it'll do its thing.
Don't even look at it, huh?
You got it.
Okay.
All right,
That's what I
Randy.
needed.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate the phone call. All right, real quick before we talk to Aaron, you guys wanted to talk about filters on the air side of the fence, which we haven't gotten into much, and we'll have Eric back in the future. But talk about air filters. There's a big difference there too.
Yes. There again, value line versus premium line. A lot of your premium line filters will have a wire back on it.
Okay.
Usually you'll see where there'll be a couple humps in there to help for noise reduction and stability of the
media and such.
plaque.
Okay.
Yep, as it comes through.
Okay.
The value line filters do not have that wire backing on it. That's why it has different media, a different amount of media, and the wire back won't be there. What happens a lot of times, you put that value line filter in there and we get a flutter. And that flutter resonates through your air box. It can give you a wheel bearing hum. It can give you an irritation of maybe something under the hood.
Interesting.
And it's just your air filter.
Okay.
There again, that's the reason why we have premium versus.
Got it. You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. And if you put in a value line air filter and you start getting some odd noises,
yep. Very true.
Maybe that's where you should look first.
Or value line air filter with a supercharger, just suck that filter.
There you go. All right, that was Aaron from Phoenix Weaponry, and Aaron does a lot of different things up at his machine shop. Mainly, and part of the reason why we have him on is he's a gun nut and has a full machine shop when it comes to gunsmithing and all those sorts of things. And I've said this many times, and I'll keep saying it. Instead of going out and buying an AR off the shelf, AR-15, go up to Aaron, get one of his custom-made ARs, and the reality is you can buy a basic AR from Aaron and not spend more than a couple $100 than what you're going to go get an off-the-shelf one for him. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, what happens is most people buy a basic AR and then they'll go out and they'll throw half of the gun away and put new parts on it anyway.
So you might as well start
We'll
with
save
you.
you the trouble.
There you go.
Perfect. Get good parts, put it all together the right way the first time, and be done with it.
All right. The other thing we talk about a lot when you're on, Aaron, is the fact that full service machine shop, you've got an older car or even a newer truck like mine, because I had you make a part for mine. We did a tailgate delete deal basically, and it came out really well. Looks fantastic. And case being, you can build anything for anybody. It doesn't matter what it is, right?
That's why I got into machining, is just so I could make parts for myself for cars and trucks and everything else. So it's a lot of fun. We actually had one of your listeners come down to the shop the other day to have us work on a part for his Razor, one of the off-road things.
Oh, right on.
We suggested we didn't do it, what he wanted to do, but we said, wait till you break it a little harder and then we'll fix it.
Got it.
But right now, just kind of looking for trouble. But
Got it. Okay. Makes sense. So even that sort of stuff you'll do.
Yeah, we'll try to take care of people.
Okay. All right. Which makes sense. Go ahead.
John, speaking of guns, have you seen the YouTube video on the Napa 4003 solvent?
Oh, yeah.
Catcher?
Yeah, the solvent catcher. Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Well, no, that's fine. But we were going to delete that number because the sales were gone until the solvent catcher came out. And now it's one of our number one selling
Really?
It's pretty crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
The unfortunate part, though, is people are using them as Econo line suppressors.
Oh, I was just mentioning the side.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you can buy all the kits from Dorman Plugs.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They actually just shoot through them.
Okay, so question for you, Aaron, on the side. I was going to ask you this after the show, but I'll ask you now. Do you have a brake? Can you break, can you put a bend in a piece of stainless steel?
No.
No brakes.
No brakes. No sheet metal work right now. I have several.
Because that's a whole different kind of animal when it comes to machine shop stuff, right?
Yes.
It's really not even, I shouldn't say it's not machine shop stuff, but it's more
metalworking.
It's metalworking, right? You're really not taking a part and putting it on a lathe or a mill and making it happen.
We're a traditional machine shop. We do not have a brake or a press yet.
Okay.
And we don't have a shear yet either, but it's something I do want to get.
Got it.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So how do people find you?
We're out at we're at www.phoenixweaponry.com. Phone number is 720-340-2496. And we're in Longmont off 119 at 1822 Skyway Drive, Unit P.
And I highly, highly recommend these guys. Anything you need, whether it's guns or cars, go up and see Phoenix Weaponry. Ray, how do folks get a hold of you?
I'm at 1801 South Wadsworth, 303-986-5202.
All right, everybody, have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Next week, warning, we will have a replay show because we're redoing the entire KLZ studio next Saturday. So we're going to come back after that to a brand new internal facility with much larger workspace, and it'll be a blast. So we're looking forward to that. So next week, it'll be a best of Drive Radio. With that, we're out of here. God bless you guys. Have a great, fantastic weekend, and I'll see you Monday on Rush to Reason right here at 3 o'clock on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive